recording. Firstly, I would request Sarah what you have understood from our last session. What topics we covered and how it made your mind.
We covered the the types of the meetings and also the artifacts that we use it in Scrum in terms of and also we discussed the continuous improvement life cycle for Kaizen and how we relate it to Scrum.
True.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. And Yusuf, would you like to add anything?
That's all, but what I can say, it gives me more clear idea about what is Agile, what is beyond it, and what is the difference between the disciplined Agile or Scrum or other structures. Sorry to miss last part yesterday, but I hope I will catch today.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's the purpose of this revision. And also, what do you think, Sohail? What we covered since yesterday?
Sir, I think it was introductory. It was very well presented, and that makes sense for me at least, because I was aware about the Agile and Scrum and all that.
True.
It makes a lot of sense to me. But I understand what Yusuf is saying. Yusuf may not be very well aware about the Agile itself. Therefore, he might have many questions about it.
True.
So ultimately, all those questions will be resolved.
True. And over the period of time, as he will keep on learning, he will have much more clarity around Agile and different ways of doing Agile work. So yesterday, we started our journey again from a plan-driven approach for software projects. And then we have seen that what were the issues. We talked about how Agile was originated, and the journey of Agile started from even before Agile Manifesto. Many other methods used to exist like Scrum and DSDM and stuff. And the purpose was same, to bridge the gap between business and technology people. Also cater changing requirements of the clients, and can work in this age of VUCA-D world that we call it, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous and digital world. We had a look on Agile Manifesto, its principles. We also talk about different methods of Agile, like Scrum, XP, and how they work. Then we start talking about in general, not in the context of a particular method, that, okay, if you want to do Agile, what's the way of doing Agile? How it works in an iterative fashion, how it produces value in an incremental fashion. We try to understand the Agile by looking at what could be the different meetings that mostly Agile teams conduct. We have seen that 4 common meetings, in fact 5, starting from product backlog refinement, iteration planning, daily iteration or daily Scrum. Then last 2 meetings that are conducted after a sprint or iteration, including product demo meetings and retrospective meetings. We also have seen different roles that exist on any Agile team. The most popular and common roles are 3, including product owner, who represent the business people, but again they are part of team. And then Scrum Master, or you can call them Agile coach, or even you can call them team lead or project manager. It totally depends. So Agile coach or Scrum Master is someone who is helping teams to choose their way of working and ensuring that team is doing the Agile in a right way. The certification you are doing, Discipline Agile Scrum Master, you should put yourself in the shoes of a team lead or Agile coach or Scrum Master or DA Scrum Master, whatever name you want to give it. And then we had a look at what team members do and what we prefer, what type of team members should be in an agile team. They could be like cross-functional people from different domains, like they could be business analysts, developers, testers, etc. Even they could be from any other department, like from like technical, marketing department, etc. And their purpose is to develop the solutions, okay, to implement the requirements from the stakeholders that are put into product backlog or in to-do list or work item list by the product owner, and then team work at it and develop it. That's what we have seen. That was like an introduction to Agile. After that, we went beyond Agile. We start talking about, okay, Agile initially started from software industry, but it is now beyond software industry. Many different other industries, many different other departments are adopting Agile as well. For example, procurement department or HR department or engineering departments, because like we have seen that agile ways of working and agile mindset is now tested and proven. But on the other side, we have seen that there is a trend that agile practices are being imposed to the people, to the teams, and that is against the agile mindset. Agile mindset is provide the guidance instead of imposing anything. It is not about pushing, it is more about pulling. You should provide the options, you should provide the strategies to the team to choose from. And that's what many agilists, they are basically complaining about. And according to them, if we really want to save agile for longer times, we really want that, okay, people keep on believing that agile transformation or agile way of working will be helpful in long run. We must challenge the status quo, we must challenge the AIC, agile industrial complex. That is like we shouldn't be jailed in a method or prisoned in a method, or we shouldn't be like zombies following a particular method or framework. Instead, we should be following a way of continuous improvement so that we can become learning professionals or teams or learning organizations. And the only way of doing is when we are going to choose our own way of working, okay? And this could be done with the help of expert agile coaches. And this can also be done with the help of, if you have like an appropriate guidance is available in the form of, for example, toolkit. And that was the main aim, or that is the main vision of DA, that guidance should be provided so that teams can choose their way of working, can learn more about it, and keep on improving their way of working. Then we try to understand discipline agile from 4 different perspectives. The first was disciplined agile mindset. And disciplined agile mindset could be explained with the help of principles, the promises that team make with themselves, with other stakeholders, and the guidelines that DA agilists follow. We have seen that like there were a number of principles, for example, delighting customers, or being awesome, or to do the work as per our context, or strive to become more and more pragmatic instead of just trapped into either 0 or 1. There is nothing in the middle. Or how to use available choices as per our context. And then we have also seen that DA principles follow lean and flow principles that can help us to optimize the flow in the value streams. We touched value stream of very little just for the sake of understanding what value streams are and how basically workflow and how the governance and communication is flowing currently. Okay, and then we also talked about the teams, how they should be organized. They should be organized around value streams, or in other words, the outcomes of value stream that are basically our products and services. We have seen the principle how DA teams work in an enterprise aware manner so that their team's goals should be aligned with the organizational goals. Otherwise, what would happen? Our focus would be like we would be more like selfish, who will be just focusing on the team and that winning the team or making the team great in an organization instead of working for the whole organization. That's what we covered in the principles. And then we had a look on promises that we make, including psychological safety and diversity inclusion and many other. Similarly, there were many guidelines, like, for example, validating learning or using existing resources and how to improve those existing resources and systems, etc. So that's what we had a look on in our last session. We couldn't complete the session because like we were short of time because of a lot of discussions from all the members in the session. Now we are moving further, and let's start our discussion by playing a game. This game is very simple, just like a wheel of fortune. Just look on these principles. You understand these are DA principles, isn't it? In front of you at the screen. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Cool. So 6 principles are given here. In fact, 8 principles, excuse me. So in the next upcoming 3 slides, we will be playing this game of where we have to guess, okay, which principle is coming up. So the wording of the principle will come one by one, the alphabets will come one by one, and then you have to choose those principles out of those alphabets. Before that, let me welcome our next participant, Charles. Charles, can you hear us?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Charles. How you doing?
Hi. Sorry for being late.
Yeah, not a problem. Charles supposed to join us yesterday from start, but he was not available. So video was made available for Charles. Now he's with us. Charles, by any chance, could you watch the video?
Yes, in fact, I was able to view like 80% from the video, like just finished lesson 1 and part of lesson 2.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot. That is very helpful. It will help us to keep our flow as it is as we are moving. So, Charles, what we are doing here, we are trying to play a game just to remember the 8 principles of discipline Agile. And now let's play this game and see if we remember the principles or not. Okay, so alphabets will keep coming and you have to just unmute and you have to tell me which principle is coming up. Okay.
Be awesome.
Cool. So be awesome. That's the principle that is coming up. Now, next.
Choice is good.
Awesome. That was quick.
I was gonna say the same at that time. It's good.
Next.
Context counts.
Yeah, context count. Thanks a lot. So that was just a game to warm up ourselves. Now let's have a look on discipline agile from our second view, and this view is, let me on my pen, people, the roles and responsibilities and the team structures that are recommended by discipline agile, again not prescribed by. It would be your choice how you structure your team, what are the roles and responsibilities you feel are appropriate. But one thing we must understand that when we are making our teams, they are mostly pretty unique, and we make them because of a particular purpose or particular function. For example, finance, software development, marketing. So we will have different roles for different type of teams, or we might have different roles based on our project or product management methodology. For example, agile, lean, hybrid, or traditional, or size. For example, if we have a team of like 5 to 9 people, as Scrum says, we might only have product owner and developers and the Scrum Master. Okay, or maybe based on the culture. Okay, is it pretty flexible, rigid, or empowering culture where we trust people, or maybe based on geographical distribution, if team is co-located, or like it is distributed within a city, or like within a country, or maybe in different time zones, and many other factors. The point here we want to make is like roles and responsibilities or team structures are based on multiple factors. Any question about it?
Yes, I wanted to go back to that initial slide that you showed before, the view where there were 3 circles.
This one.
Yeah. So what is meant by flow and practices? So people is like self-explanatory.
In fact, we are trying to understand discipline agile toolkit for enterprise agility. We are trying to understand from its different views or different viewpoints. Firstly, we understood the mindset with the help of principles, guidelines, and promises. Okay, and then now we are looking on the people that DA recommends we should have on our discipline agile delivery teams and beyond, in fact. And after that, we will be looking at the flow. Okay, flow mean that, okay, how basically, how, mean, what different type of life cycles or workflows are proposed by discipline agile. We will be going in depth of them. We will be looking on 6 core life cycles that are proposed by discipline agile and many others as well. Okay, and the last thing is the building bricks of DA toolkit, that are our process goals, and how those process goals are depicted and in fact explained with the help of goal diagrams that also include the practices. So that's what we are going to look in and throughout our discussion, we will be covering these bits. So quite a lot to come. Now here they are just talking about people. They may play different roles in an organization, and here they commented that, okay, what could be the potential roles for the leaders? Okay, for example, team leads, or product owner, or architecture owner, or team members, or even independent tester. He could be a leader, she could be a leader if he or she got like maybe better people skills. Okay, similarly, there are many management roles like project managers, portfolio managers. Again, they are very conventional roles. Here, the focus is more towards managing the projects, managing a product or portfolio, etc. And then domain roles. I mean, they are like 100 and 1,000 of domain roles, totally depend on the domains, isn't it? They could be domain experts, for example, bankers, for example, legal representatives, for example, tax editor, etc., customer service representative, procurement officers, and many more. So people can work in many different roles. However, in the upcoming in the upcoming sessions, we will be looking on what DA promotes or what DA recommends. Okay, but before that, Umar, as you said that, let's talk about DA life cycles. Okay, or you were talking about the flow or the workflow. What DA does, it says that choice is good. Okay, and why choice is good? Because each team has its own unique situation. For example, a few of the teams are funded or they are basically formed based on projects. Other teams are formed based on, for example, products. They are like long-standing stable teams. Or maybe a team is team of entrepreneurs where like multiple entrepreneurs, they joined each other and they are starting a startup. Okay, similarly, you could be part of for example, a sub team of a program. So each team has its unique situation, and for that unique situation, we cannot push just one life cycle or one method to make it fit for all. Okay, in fact, DA provides 6 life cycles. Also, there are few other life cycles as well. I will be talking about them later, but firstly, let's look on these key life cycles. The first one is Agile based life cycle. In fact, this life cycle, you can think of like its basis is Scrum, but it is much more than just Scrum. You can call it Scrum Plus. It basically provides you much more than just a Scrum life cycle. This life cycle is pretty useful for the teams who are funded by or funded on a project basis. Okay, or a team is pretty new to Agile, they might like to go for this life cycle. And then there is another life cycle that is provided by DA, is lean life cycle. This is more based on Kanban way of working, where we basically use Kanban techniques, for example, using the pull system or using the Kanban boards, or putting the work in progress into the limit, keeping the work in progress visible, too many other things. Okay, again, this approach is for the teams who are funded by a project, who normally delivering the whole solution at the end of a project. No doubt they keep on adding value in an incremental fashion. And then there come the next 2 life cycles. They are basically next level life cycles of Agile and Lean. We call them continuous delivery Agile and continuous delivery Lean. They are for the teams who are long-standing stable teams. You can think of like product teams, okay, who might be showing or who might be using the mindset of DevOps, okay, where they are basically working together for a long time and they are already settled down, many things are done. Only thing they are doing is they are adding more and more features into a product, just like a feature producing machines. Okay, again, 2 life cycles. One is based on time box, that is iterations, or time boxed Agile. Again, many things are coming from Scrum, but much more than Scrum. And then there comes the last life cycle for the team, for the standard teams, that is lean life cycle. Again, it is extension of Kanban, but Again, teams are product teams. They are funded based on products or value streams. They might be demonstrating the mindset of DevOps, working closely with the operations teams and many other teams. But instead of working in sprints or iterations, they are working in a Kanban way, where basically they are doing things just in time manner by using a pull system, where where basically they pull the next set of work once they completed one set of work. Okay. This life cycle is, as per discipline agile, this life cycle is, you can say that the best life cycle could be the ultimate goal of the teams, maybe starting from agile, going to continuous delivery agile, and then continuous delivery lean, or maybe starting from agile, going towards Kanban, and then becoming continuous delivery team of who is working like on a Kanban basis, or started from Kanban for projects, and then later they become product teams, and now they have become a team using Kanban approach to produce the features for a particular product, etc. Again, please note that when I say product team, it really doesn't mean they don't work on projects. They might go and do a project, and that's all. Okay, but still they are long-standing stable teams. And then last two life cycles are exploratory life cycle. This is based on lean startups, okay, that help us to test our hypotheses, test our ideas, to see that, okay, the product or service we are producing will be acceptable in the market or not. Mostly as a result of this life cycle, we produce MVPs, that are our minimum viable products, or their lighter versions that you might say a prototype. Okay, just to test the market, if there is acceptability of a new product in a market or not. And then there come program level. Okay, program level is where there are multiple sub teams, or there is a large team, okay, or there are multiple sub teams working together to produce a comparatively larger solution. Okay, and these teams could be based on like features, okay, to produce different features, or maybe producing we call them component teams, who are responsible for a particular component within a solution, etc. We will be looking on them throughout our discussion. We will be looking on the life cycle as well, but at the moment, let's start with only first life cycle, that is the agile based or time boxed life cycle, similar to Scrum. Okay, let's have a look at it. But before talking about it, did I make some sense on the previous slide?
Yes, we'll follow the list.
Good. So Charles, what you understand what DA does in terms of proposing the life cycles?
Sorry, can you come again, because your voice is a little bit breaking. The connection is not good here.
Sorry about that. Charles, what do you understand from these 6 life cycles? What are they? How are they helpful? Can you hear me, Charles? So I think Charles is either on mute or his connection is breaking. But nevertheless, let's move further and talk about our first life cycle, agile-based life cycle. Would anyone like to explain this life cycle? Suhail?
Okay. This is pretty simple, in which your basic vision is coming from the portfolio, and from the product management side, we are getting the guidelines. And here we initially develop our initial model, or the outline plan of the whole project. Based on that, we develop a release plan, and release plan also is counted towards the user stories we collect, the requirement we collect into the product backlog, that would guide us into developing the outline plan and the releases according to the contract. In the product backlog, we have sorted all the user stories in order, in priority, and then highest priority items are picked up by the first iteration. They are handled, iteration backlog is created, they're being developed, and ultimately once they're done, they are presented to the product owner and the stakeholders, the customer, etc. And after they have been accepted, we do the final retrospective of that iteration, and then cycle continues. And while we are doing the iteration, we are also doing the daily Scrum kind of a thing, which we call the daily coordination meeting. And in that, we have a kind of a progress report and coordination meeting. Once all the iterations are done, we keep delivering the releases as per the plan. The interesting part is the release plan is not static. After every iteration, the release plan may change. So ultimately, with the changing requirements, we keep doing these iterations, and maybe the initial requirement we got in the beginning, we land up doing much more or much less job from the basic plan. Ultimately, we go in operations. Once we hand it over to operations, then once it is released, then it goes into operation, and then maybe at that stage they can add some more work, and then another iteration comes up. That's approximately this is, and this goes through the general cycle of inception, construction, and transition. In inception, we have things which are kind of grand level planning. In construction, we are doing our iterations, and in transition, we are handing over the things to the operations.
True. Awesome. And
So I have a question on that.
Yeah, surely.
From the commentary, and maybe Swelsa can explain. So I fully agree in spirit and letter that the iteration plan, the release plan will change. But just looking at this diagram, I could not see that have that relationship. Maybe I missed in my oversight. But like I can see they said that the evolve your wow, and like you're releasing into production. But where does the part come to improve the release plan? That's something I
You see, it is written just before the product backlog, where the work items are written. You can see on top of the arrow, it is written initial requirements. These initial requirements are basically user stories, or unrefined user stories. So based on those unrefined user stories, you do a little bit of estimating and create the release plan, right? Release plan could be, after 3 months, we'll be delivering this much. After 9 months, we'll be delivering this much. So there's a broad plan, outline plan. This is called the release plan. So I just explained it. It's not written in so many details there.
No, that's correct. That's correct. I think the change requests are flowing from after releasing. That's where the release plan also improves. So that also.
Okay. Yeah. So that is the confusion, that where change requests are coming, they are coming here, but release plans are somewhere here. And that's your question. We will be talking about it, but the first thing, as Swelsa suggested, that it's an iterative life cycle, a time box life cycle, where iterations are normally, you can say, 1 to 4 weeks long, and preference is towards 1 week. But the difference between this iterative life cycle and the popular Scrum life cycle is it is much more comprehensive than Scrum. One thing is, team is not just working into its silos, and you can clearly see that teams are working in an enterprise aware manner. They know that how to work with the portfolio team, how to consider their requirements, and because the funding is coming from the portfolio team, and all also the high level vision for this particular initiative for which we are doing the work is coming from portfolio. So we keep their concerns into our mind while setting our team goals so that they could be aligned with the portfolio goals or organizational goals. Similarly, our roadmaps or our product features, they are coming from the product management team, and our technical guidance is coming from organizational level architect team of architects or organizational level architecture. From there, we are able to then do some initial modeling, high level modeling, planning, etc., to gather the requirements and set our initial release plan. And then you can see that they are not using a terminology product backlog. Okay, why they are not using the terminology? There are two reasons. One is like work items, they are like more common world, everybody can understand. Okay, so this is basically a list of our work item. That's one reason. The other reason is work items include much more than just only the features. Okay, it include not only features but risks or the change requests. Also, it include the bugs to remove, so many other things. Okay, and that's why they are using a terminology that is more comprehensive than just product backlog. And yes, Umar.
Just one more comment. I think it ties back to what we had initially read, that there is focus on technical excellence. A lot of product teams don't understand why we need to do something because it's not, users are not getting any value from it. So I think that is also one reason that we are working on architecture or improvements.
Oh yeah, to agree. So because like what TA says, we should be adding value not only for customer, they are key, but also we should be thinking about our business as well. How to add value for our business? That might be indirectly a value to customers, but might not be a direct value to the customers. But nevertheless, then we run a number of iterations in a release as per our release plan, and in those iterations we do our work. We do our daily coordination meeting as well for the purpose of communication to see that how people are working, and also we do many other meetings at the end of each iteration, including demonstration to the stakeholders where we might make go forward decisions. We talked about them, how many different type of go forward decision could be made, and also we reflect on our previous working, that is basically retrospectives. It helps us to evolve our way of working. Okay, how to do better in the upcoming iterations. And then, as I said, that the team also work with the operations and support team in a seamless manner, not in the silos. They basically there are no walls or there are no communication issues between the team and the development team and the operation teams. That is more like a DevOps mindset. On top of that, another important thing are phases that are given at the bottom: inception, construction, and transition. In fact, there are many Agile purists. What they believe is, they say that if it is Agile, we don't have phases. Phases are in waterfall. But practically, they do have some phases. But what they do, they call those phases as a sprint zero, etc., etc. Again, few people argue. And in fact, what I have seen in previous 5 to 8 years, there are quite a lot of debates, or there are quite a lot of argues. There is no sprint zero in Scrum. There is a sprint zero in Scrum or not, etc. But nevertheless, the work they do in sprint zero basically is the work that we do in the start of any project or product. The initiation work. We are going in depth of this initiation work. What it includes: so on and so forth. But nevertheless, few people call it sprint zero. And after that, our standard sprints start. They could be, for example, 5 or 7 sprints within a release. Okay, I really don't know. It totally depends on your release plan. And this is our construction phase, where we are basically developing our solution. After that, normally we put that solution into production. That is our transition. Okay, again, in Scrum, mostly we don't have this phase. They call it release sprint. Okay, or sometimes if they have to do some quality assurance work or documentation work or tying the loose ends, they call it, for example, hardening sprint. Okay, but that's what we do in the transition work, in the transition phase. And in the transition phase, we put the solution into the operations, and we see that, okay, customers are using it and how they are liking it. That's one thing, that we are pragmatic. If there are phases, there are phases. We shouldn't be saying that, okay, we are different from waterfall, we must not have phases, etc. That's number one. Number two is, DA promotes lean governance. Okay, lean governance is key. Why it is key? The thing is, many people think that, okay, especially the pure agilists, they believe in like there shouldn't be no governance at all. It's just like a dirty world for them, a sphere world for them. Okay, they say that we are self-organized teams, we are autonomous. Why we need governance? Why someone is basically asking for artifacts, etc.? We know how to do work. But again, our sponsors, our clients, our portfolio, or our program managers who are paying us funds, they will govern us, either we like it or not. So that's why the teams are not actually fully autonomous. They are more like semi-autonomous. But how these teams, we calling them awesome teams, should be governed. They should be governed in an awesome way. And that's basically our lean governance, where our focus is, okay, the milestones for the purpose of the milestones for the purpose of governance that we are setting shouldn't be based on comprehensive documentation, comprehensive reports. It should be more based on some lightweight, okay, risk-based milestones. So that's the key word. And in fact, at the bottom, you can clearly see that there are many lightweight risk-based milestones. We will be talking about these milestones in detail, but let's quickly skim through these milestones. The first one is that is basically end of our Inception stakeholder vision. What it is talking about, it is saying that the team and the stakeholders, they should be on the same page when we start our development work. Okay, our vision should be same. We both should have same understanding what we are going to build. And then next is proven architecture, that is just in the start of development or construction stage. Could be in maybe after one sprint or 1.5 sprint, where what we try to do, we try to prove our architecture. We try to prove that, okay, solution that we are going to develop, its components are okay. The technology we are going to use, it will function well, it will be integrated well. Or in other words, you can think of like a walking skeleton of our solution, but might be just one feature or maybe 2 features. Okay, but it is important that these features should be developed from start till end, so that we can see the whole architecture of our solution. It will give us confidence. Okay, if we can implement 2 features, we can use the same technology to develop all the features. It may take some time. Our progress could be slow in the first 1 or 2 iterations, just to prove our architecture. But good thing is it will give us and our stakeholders confidence that okay, in the next sprints all the features will be produced with confidence. And then there are few more milestones. We call them continued viability. That is basically that these milestones are you can think of what we do in the product demo, or what we do when at the end of each iteration when we are showing our work, okay, to our stakeholders, to our sponsors, to our product owner. And one of the purpose of showing our work is to make go forward decision, okay, and that go forward decision would be based on one fact that okay, the work team is doing, should they continue or should they change their direction, okay. So there will be several milestones, and in fact at the end of each iteration, and once all the work is completed, the development work is completed, we should have this milestone, that is okay, the solution got the sufficient functionality that we were aiming for. So that's basically the last milestone of development stage. And there are two more milestones, again risk-based, very lightweight. One is production ready. It talks about two components. One is okay, if solution is ready or not, ready to deploy or not. That's number one. Second is if our stakeholders are ready to accept the solution or not. Basically, we are talking about our operations teams, support team, or even our users to accept this solution. And then once solution is transited into the production, and our IT operation is basically using it or implementing it or installing it, our support team is providing support, and our users are using it, the key success of our measure should be our delighted customers. They are using it happily, and they are basically recommending others as well that okay, the solution that we got is an appropriate solution. So these milestones help us to implement lean governance. Any question about it? Yusuf, did I make some sense? Yusuf, are you available? I think Yusuf is not here.
Yeah, doctor, I'm here.
Okay, cool. So the points I made, did they make some sense to you, or there is any confusion about it?
No confusion. Time by time, my understanding get better.
Oh yeah, surely. So let's move further and talk about discipline agile practices, or the strategies or agile practices that discipline agile provide us to help you to choose our way. And basically they try to explain with the help of this short story. This story is Alice in Wonderland, where Alice talk about okay, Alice asked a cat, can you please let me know where can I go? Then cat replies that it totally depends that where you want to go, what's your aim, okay, what you want to get. And Alice responses that okay, I really don't care, wherever. Okay, and then cat says that oh, it means that if you really don't know where you want to go, what's your destination, then just go to any way you like. It really doesn't make any difference as long as uh, uh, you can walk enough and just keep on walking. The purpose of sharing this story is DA help us to choose the right way to reach to our destination. That destination should be to become a learning team. a team who believes in continuous improvement, who just keep on going and improving and can keep on producing the value for the business and for the customer. For that purpose, what DA did, DA provided you the process goals. You can also call them process outcomes. Remember, we talked about 3 phases: inception, construction, and transition. And in each phase or at each point, normally we have to do some activities as a team, or you can say as a team lead, for example. We have to make some decisions. Okay, those activities are basically our processes that we do every day in our organization. Okay, what DA did is they provided you a comprehensive guide to how to achieve the outcomes as a result of those activities. For example, when you start a project, you have to form a team. So what should be the outcome of this process of forming a team? A team, a high performing team is our outcome. How can we do it? That we can do it when we have a very clear understanding what we are expecting in a team. So these are called our process goals. Process goals have their advantages. Sarah, would you like to read these advantages for me?
Yes, sure. Goals give us focus. Goals allow us to measure progress. Goals help us remain committed and undistracted. Goals help us overcome procrastination. Goals give us a motivation.
Yeah, so I mean, if we have very clear goals in mind, we are normally very focused and we can see the progress we are making. It really reduced our reduce the delays or stalling on our way and keep us motivated as a team. And again, if someone tells you what to do exactly, it might fit to your situation, might not fit for your situation. If someone has the same prescription for you, okay, for you, for another team, for another organization, it might not work for you. So it's again very important, we repeat again and again, everyone follow a unique situation. You know your situation much better than anyone else. So the path you will choose, the strategies you will choose will be the best as per your context. However, it's not enough to choose one strategy and just keep on moving. In fact, you have to choose that strategy. You have to try that strategy, experiment that strategy, and see if it is working. That's fantastic. Keep on using it. If it's not, then you might like another strategy. And if choices are given to you, you will have you will be sitting on the shoulders of a giant. You will have a very clear picture. Okay, if this is not working, what could be the reason of it? What are the other options available for us? It really helps us to become an awesome team. Also, this approach that DA adopted, we call it goal-driven approach, okay? Or you can also think of outcome-driven approach. It has various advantages, and I would request Sohail to read these advantages one by one. The first one is?
Actually, I cannot see any written text around here.
At the bottom, can you read?
Oh, it enables teams to focus on process outcomes.
Not on the processes, but processes outcomes or process results. And next is?
It provides a concise shared pathway to leaner, less wasteful process decisions.
Yeah, and again, remember guys, the toolkit, that we are calling a DA toolkit is a process decision toolkit that help us to decide about processes so that we can choose those processes who can result in better outcomes. And next,
it makes process decisions explicit.
I mean, very clear, explicit decisions as per our context. Next.
It makes your process options very clear.
So self-explanatory.
It enables effective scaling.
When we talk about scaling here, if we are thinking about team, okay, we are thinking about tactical scaling, the scaling for a team. For example, you make decisions based on your team size or their geographical distribution or the work they are doing or the compliance requirements, etc. We will be going in depth of tactical scaling soon.
It takes the guesswork out of extending agile methods.
And I mean, it makes us very predictable. That's one of the key guideline, be predictable, okay? And it reduces the guesswork out. And then?
It makes it clear what risks you are taking on.
Yeah, so I mean, the decisions you are making are basically very informed decisions. You know that the work you are doing, what could be the different risks included in it, and also it all provides you a lot of different strategies to address those risks.
It hints at an agile maturity model.
So firstly, you choose your way of working, then you keep on learning and you keep on improving. That is basically resulting in like a maturity model of your, that can tell you that, okay, what is the maturity level of your team or later your organization. Now, G&A time. Charles, G&A is basically, you need to read the statement and anyone can say yea or nay. So can you read this statement for me, Charles?
Sure. You can take control of the process even if you don't know what your options are. So I have to answer yea
or nay.
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 Yeah, true. When you don't know your options, you really cannot make the right decisions about your processes.
Exactly.
And that was just one. Okay. And then here is a quote. There is no one size fit for all that we are talking about. That's why a lot of choices are given. A lot of different life cycles are given by discipline agile. Not only they provide these life cycles, they also provide you the guidance in which situation you should choose a particular life cycle. So they use GCI, that is like provide you guidance for continuous improvement. We already defined discipline agile, isn't it? It is a toolkit, it is agnostic, it is hybrid, that basically is based on many different methods and few of them are shown here. Okay, all these are different agile methods or agile way of working, either time boxed agile, for example, extreme programming, Scrum, safe, etc., or maybe flow based agile like Kanban, etc., and many other agile way of working, for example, agile modeling and planning, agile data, or even unified processes, etc. Process blades. In fact, I didn't like the sequence of these slides. So let me share next set of slides that will give you more clear idea. We try so far what we did is we try to understand discipline agile from 4 views: from mindset, from people. We didn't go in depth of any of them, isn't it? We didn't talk about team structure, the roles and responsibilities. Also, we tried to understand discipline agile from flow view, that like life cycles. We had a look, but we just touch base with one life cycle. Similarly, DA practices or DA process goals, we didn't go in depth. We are at the moment on a very high level, but throughout our discussion, we will go in depth of it. Now, what I am representing you, landscape of DA toolkit. DA toolkit is not a toolkit for just solution development or not just for one team. Can you hear me good, guys? Can you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we can.
Oh, there was a message that your internet is unstable, so I thought maybe. But nevertheless, let's come to the point. DA toolkit is not just for one team or just for the sake of solution development. That could be software solution or could be any other type of solution. It is much more than that. Okay. Solution development is in fact just one component of it. You can see it here. Okay. The life cycles we are talking about are the process goals we are talking about, or the whole Bible. Sohail was mentioning that, okay, he ran our book reader session and there were like 28 chapters and 21 processes that are part of only one component. Okay, and this component, DA call it process blade. Okay, for many of you, this word could be a new name. Process blade you can think of is like just like process areas. Okay, or you can think of like solution development is one process area, security in an organization is one process area, data management is another process area, etc. But DA call it process blade. What is the reason behind it, Junaid?
Yes. So what I understand is they have segregated it into multiple parts. And so it's like layers of onions. So one thing encompasses other. So when this area, you're talking about one area, so they are segregated in one layer. So they were called layers, process blades. So the underlying reason maybe you can define better.
Yeah, I think the reason behind it is they took this terminology from blade servers. IT guys may aware of blade servers. Umar, do you use blade servers?
No, can you highlight it, please?
Yeah, so blade servers are more like the servers who got like portable blades into them, where these blades could be inserted in, could be changed, could be upgraded, etc. Instead of like complex structure, they are like more modular forms. Okay, the blades. Okay, based on the same line, they thought that, okay, these components, these hexagonals, these could be like process blades. These could be like blades in a blade servers that can always be upgraded. They can always be modified. They could be new process blades could be added, could be removed, etc. That's the only reason calling them process blades. Otherwise, these are just process areas, nothing more than that. Okay, now the landscape I'm talking about. This landscape is based on 4 layers. The first one is foundation, that covers the mindset, the DA mindset. That also cover the key practices like agile, lean, serial, etc. It covers different team roles and team structures. It also talks about how to choose your way of working, foundation layer. Okay, there are no process blades in this layer, but next layer is DevOps layer. They call it discipline DevOps. Why they call it discipline DevOps, we will be talking about it later. But you can say that, as I previously said, Scrum Plus, okay, Agile Lifecycle is Scrum Plus. Similarly, discipline DevOps is DevOps Plus, okay. Here we have in total 6 process blades. And the first process blade is discipline agile delivery. That is normally for solution development teams. Okay. In this training, our focus would be this process blade. We will not going in depth of next process blades, but let's have a quick look. The other process blades in DevOps, you know DevOps, isn't it? How many of you don't know DevOps? Sarah, you are aware of DevOps?
No.
Okay, so DevOps is more like, okay, yeah, that's awesome. DevOps are more like combination of two words, development and operations. When solution is developed, how it is translated into the production and how operations teams take care of it. Normally, there is quite a lot of gap between two types of teams. It resulted in a lot of different challenges. As a result, especially the development team thought leaders, they adopted this mindset, okay, called DevOps. The purpose is to bridge the gap between delivery teams and IT operation teams. Operation teams are those who maintain the whole ecosystem of the IT, including all different solutions that are produced by discipline agile or delivery teams. Okay, DA mindset says that we as a teams or as a departments, we should be working in a seamless manner instead of just working in the silos. This mindset is very comprehensive, very detailed. Many cloud providers provide you the tools to implement the DevOps, but it's not compulsory just to use cloud providers. Could be anything. It is more like a mindset. It is not a toolkit. Sorry, not a tool. So in DevOps layer, there are many other process blades, okay, including development, operations, security, data management, release management, and support. After that, next layer comes, and it includes 3 more process blades called portfolio, product, and program management. This layer is called value stream layer. We talked about value stream a bit. Okay, value stream is more about customers. From the point customer enter into your organization until your customer is served. Okay, 3 key areas which are dedicated to value streams, and then many other areas which are common between next layer, that is discipline agile enterprise, and value stream, including R&D, operation, strategy, governance, marketing, continuous improvement, and sales. And the last layer that are basically all other components within an organization, starting from enterprise architecture till vendor management. That is a whole landscape of discipline agile, very comprehensive. But the point I really want to make is each of these process blades, they follow DA mindset. Okay, we know about DA mindset, isn't it? What is DA mindset, Umar?
DA mindset is basically the promises and principles following that,
And the
like
guidelines.
here, yes.
True. Yeah, agreed. And also each of the process blade is supported with DA roles and team structures. That's another beauty. And the last thing is each of the DA process blade or process area, it is supported with a comprehensive toolkit that is based on the process goals. In fact, the Bible we are talking about that include 21 process goals. And in fact, recently they added 3 more process goals, in total 24 process goals. We didn't look went deep into these process goals. I understand you don't know what I am talking about, what does it mean, process goals, etc. But nevertheless, what I am trying to say is that a comprehensive list of process goals are at the back of this uh, process blade. Similarly, each of the process area or process blade, it is supported by DA mindset, DA roles and responsibilities, or DA people, and also supported by at least one or more process goals. Each of them, just talk about any of them, sales, vendor management, finance, etc. And process goals are basically the list of strategies in the form of goal diagrams that help you to become agile organization, a learning organization, not only for development teams, not only for operations team, not only for IT department, but for all different departments. And that's basically DA, landscape and process blades. We have already covered most of them. Now next, JR, time. Any question about the landscape? Yes, Sumar, can you read this journey?
A discipline agile enterprise spots swiftly to changes in the marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. DA enterprise, the top layer, the highest level, if they are basically agile enterprises, they respond very fast to the changes in marketplace in a sustainable, in a quality assured, and in a predictable manner. And then next year, Yusuf.
Okay, the foundation layer includes disciplined agile delivery and other enterprise aspects of DevOps. I think Nay.
Yeah, fantastic. It is not foundation layer, it is DevOps layer.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Now let's talk about these process goals a bit. I hope you already have a very brief idea that process goals are basically that help us to make the right decisions. Okay, for example, if we are in the inception phase, that is the start of a project, we have to make some decisions, okay, about the work. For example, how to get the funding, how to form the team, how to explore high level scope, etc. Okay, that are our process goals. In DA toolkit, process goals and process goal diagrams, these are building bricks of DA toolkit. Okay, in fact, process goals are explained with the help of goal diagrams, and these goal diagrams include uh, a lot of different options available for us that help us to make the decisions. Okay, that provide us guidance to make the decisions, and these are not just a list. Each of the option is well described, and their advantages and disadvantages are provided as well. Now, in fact, try to see some of the goal diagrams. Firstly, I want to ask one question. If you think about landscape, and then look on these different phases: inception, construction, transition. What do you think? Which process blade is being covered?
That delivery agile, I think that was, I think
Yeah.
the model.
True, exactly. DAD, discipline agile delivery, or you can say discipline agile solution development. Okay, so we are talking about only that process plate. And here we are taking the example of our basic life cycle, that is agile life cycle or Scrum plus life cycle. This life cycle has 3 phases: from inception, then to transition. Okay, for each phase, normally as a team or team lead, we have to make some decisions. Okay, and the guidance for those decisions are provided with the help of process goals. In during inception, normally we make decisions about these things. Okay, these processes, we do these activities. Sarah, can you read the name of these process goals?
Form team, align with enterprise direction, explore scope, identify architecture a strategy, plan the release, develop test strategy, develop common vision, secure funding.
And again, guys, remember in the inception phase, we don't go in depth. We don't, for example, develop a detailed release plan or detailed test strategy. We do it on a very high level. Okay. Again, it depends team to team, but according to DA research, normally it takes 11 days, 11 working days. That is almost one sprint of 2 weeks to go through or pass through the inception phase. And then there are 5 process goals under construction. Charles, can you please read it for me?
Prove architecture early, address changing stakeholder needs, produce a potential consumable solution, improve quality, accelerate value delivery.
It's all about creating the solution. And then there are 2 process goals, Sohail, in transition. Can you please read it for me? Yeah, you are on mute. You are on mute, sorry.
I'm sorry. So we have got 2 things here, 2 processes: ensure production readiness and deploy the solution.
And then there are many different activities that we do on ongoing basis. Either we are in initiation, development or construction, or we are in transition. And these activities are, can you read Yusuf for me?
And these are grow team members, evolve way of work, coordinate activities, leverage and enhance existing infrastructure, assess risk, govern delivery team.
Yeah, so these are the things that we do on ongoing basis. I'm not going in depth of anyone because like we are going in depth of everything throughout our discussions. But let's talk about a very quick look. 2 of the process goals. One is secure funding. From which phase it is? Sohail?
Inception.
Yeah, it is from inception. And then grow team members.
Also inception.
I think it is from ongoing.
Ongoing, right.
Yeah. So if you look, we call this thing as a goal diagram. Okay. On this goal diagram, the first thing is the process goal itself. And then each process goal is distributed into decision points. Decision points mean that when we are, for example, securing funding, what decision we have to make. For example, we have to choose funding strategy, we have to choose the scope of funding, and we have to decide about that how funds will be available and how we will access it. What DA does, it provides you a comprehensive list of strategies, agile strategies, okay, that could be used, for example, choosing a funding strategy or choosing a funding scope or access the funds. Okay. Now, you can see that there are some arrows here. Okay. In fact, in secure funding, these arrows are for each decision point. But if you look in grow team members, there are no arrows. Okay. It means that goal diagram, there could be arrows, there might not be arrows. Okay. There could be arrows throughout. In the whole goal diagram, there might not be a single arrow in a goal diagram, or there might be mix of both. Arrow mean, if arrow is given, it means the top strategy would be the top one. Okay, this is the best agile strategy, this is the second best, this is the third best, this is the fourth, so on and so forth. By using the
I
same
have a
yes, please.
sorry. So in every process blade, we have phases, because we talked about inception, ongoing. So these are phases, right? Are
Yeah.
such phases existing for every process blade, or this is just unique to that?
Either the life cycles will be there. For example, in DAD, discipline agile delivery, there are 6 life cycles. Okay. Either the life cycle or the workflows will be there. One of them. Okay. So Yusuf, can you explain when we are making decision that what would be the scope of our funding, what is the best strategy out of these 4 options?
Best strategies, value stream.
Yeah. So
because arrow shows that.
True. If we can have funding for our value stream, it's best. Okay. If not, if we can get it for line of business, it's also very good. And then if we have like product type funding, it's also good. But project type of funding, no doubt, most of the funding is project based now. If we look historically, but this is not the best way. It really doesn't help us to like produce value as compared to when we have funding for value streams. Okay, so yeah, very helpful. And other thing, you can see that these bold and italic. Can you see bold and italic?
Yes.
These are our best starting points. What does it mean? It means that our organizations are not fully agile. Maybe they are still working on hybrid model, or maybe our client organization is agile, or our vendor organization is still not agile. Then in that case, they will never go for value stream funding in the start, isn't it? But to basically start the journey of agility, for business agility, the good starting point could be, instead of doing project funding, let's start doing product funding. But our ultimate aim should be for value stream funding to become fully agile. Okay. Similarly, access funds. You can see that the best technique of accessing fund is that, okay, funding pool should be available, and IT team can get the funds as per need basis, okay, without any request. But most of the organizations, funding is available on formal requests. But these are traditional organizations. They want to become agile organizations. One of the very good starting point is, instead of formal requests, make it more informal. Okay, trust your team that when they require fund, should be available just with the help of an email, so on, so forth. Did you understand how to read this goal diagram?
Yeah.
Now let's move further and try to see more aspects of these goal diagram. When you are growing your team members, okay, you improve their skills and knowledge, and you provide them feedback for the sake of improvement, or you want to keep your team sustained so that your team member should become like very confident, and they should not have any fear of like losing the job, etc. So these are the key three things. Here, there are no arrows given. It means arrows may be given, may not be given. It could be mixed as well. If arrows are not given, it means that no strategy is like the top or highly recommended strategy. Okay, mean you can use any strategy you like. Various strategies are given here, but what they say that, okay, if there are 10 strategies given here, you might not be using all of the 10. Then what can you do? You can do with the good starting points. For example, by launching book clubs, or having office hours, or building guilds. Guilds is a Spotify concept, or community of practices, or you can have a coach, or you may have a mentor, or doing some non-solo works like pair programming or mob programming, or giving your team some training, preferably face-to-face or virtual training as it is available. Again, none of the strategy is the best strategy, but you can use these bold italic strategies as a good starting points. But nevertheless, if you want to run hackathons, you can run hackathons, you can have open spaces, your choice. There is no problem in it, but they might not fit to your organization. If they fit, why not? Did I make some sense?
Sure, sure.
Okay, cool. Let's move further. Now, it's your time. I try to explain you. Now, you will be the one who will be looking on two goals. One is ensure production readiness. From which phase it is?
Construction.
Here.
Transition.
Transition. And the second one is deploy the solution, again from transition. So please take 1 minute, and then I would request one of you to read this goal diagram for me. Okay. Well, Junaid, would you like to read it for me?
Sure. So this is ensure production readiness, and we have ensure technical readiness and ensure stakeholder readiness, two goals that we have to meet. And the first one, the decisions, I believe these are called decisions, and for each decision we have multiple options. For ensure technical readiness, we have the option of alpha testing, data migration preparation, deployment testing, end of life cycle testing, and fixing. Then finalize deployment plan, finalize documentation, pilot or beta testing. So these are all the options that we can choose from for this decision of ensure technical readiness, and the highlighted in bold are the default options that are recommended by Disciplined Agile. You can choose any of them. The next decision we have to make is ensure stakeholder readiness. For that, we have three options to choose from. First one is communicate deployment. Second is prepare support environment. Third is train or educate stakeholders.
Oh.
So the default option is to communicate deployment. but these are all available. You can choose any of other, or you can choose 2 or more.
So agreed. So you can choose just one or all of them, or even these options as well. So it totally depends on you. But they are not even they are not given in a priority list. Mean there is no arrow. And then here, when I say this toolkit is very comprehensive, it not only provides you these goal diagrams, okay, not only provide you these agile strategies, but also tell you that what is each strategy, okay, so that you have a good understanding. You should have all the information available to make the informed decision. It describes each of the method. It also tells you the trade-off, mean advantages, disadvantages, in which setting, which strategy will be useful, so on and so forth in the toolkit. And it is available in a book called Choose Your Vow, the Bible I am talking about, okay, and those 28 chapters. But nowadays it is also available on the website. They call it DA browser, a very interactive browser where you have everything available. When we will be finishing this session, I will be showing you the DA browser. You can clearly see here they explain you, okay, what is data migration preparation? Its description, its trade-offs, advantages, disadvantages, in which setting it will be useful, in which setting it might not be useful, what could be the issues that might come. And also nowadays what they did is they provided a lot of links, a lot of references to each of these methods. So it means that this toolkit is very, very comprehensive. No, that's
available for free or is it only for PMI members?
PMI members. Yeah, I think you just need PMI login details, isn't it? That is free.
I believe it is for PMI members.
Yeah, because
but not sure.
Yeah, so it is not for the non-members.
If you are a DA Scrum Master, then it should be available with you, even if you are not a member, because the setting is different with PMI credential orders.
Yeah. I think you just need PMI login. You don't need its membership. That's my understanding. But again, as a member, I never tested the other way around. Maybe if you are not member, you can test and share with us.
No, I'm a member, so I just wanted to ask for the clarity of others.
True. So that was end of session, and here we skimmed through DA toolkit. We will go in depth of it. We will be learning much more about it, but any questions so far?
Very satisfying session. Many questions were answered.
Thanks a lot, Sohail sir. And
I have a question. So if you don't get 30-minute lunch break, I assume this is by default in the session. So I had a question. So these process diagrams, they smack of typical PMI style to me. Were they there before it was the DA was acquired by PMI? Maybe Janet can tell us or you can tell us. They were there before? Okay.
Yeah, but they improved a lot. Previously, for example, there were 21 process goals for DA solution delivery. Now there are 24 process goals. So they keep on improving, making it more and more useful, comprehensive, and more quality assured. Thanks a lot, guys. So how long should we go for break? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Make it 15 minutes.
Okay, I'm with you guys. So Junaid, do you have any question?
No, Ji. Thank you. And yes, regarding the upgrade, so one thing with disciplined Agile is it is not stagnant. They keep on updating, and that is why they have this DA browser with you. You will have access to it, and you will see continuous growth in it. and it is very useful. You will apply it in your real life and you will see for yourself.
True.
Thank you, Faisal, for bringing it to Pakistan and South. Yeah.
Yeah, most welcome, Junaid. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. So see you in 15 minutes. So I resume the recording. Lesson 3 is about building and supporting a disciplined agile team, and it is one of the key responsibility of team leader or disciplined agile Scrum Master. In this session, we will be talking about disciplined agile people, including roles on disciplined agile teams. Again, recommendations, not the requirements. Then we will be talking about one of the key role on DA teams called team leader or DA Scrum Master. And we will be also discussing different types of teams and how we normally make our teams based on different scaling factors. These are the key topics we will be talking about in this session. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that everything in discipline agile is based on DA mindset. When we talk about DA people, basically what we really want is the DA teams should be awesome teams. And here are the features of an awesome individual and awesome team. Sarah, would you like to read these features for me? Sarah is not available. Umar, are you here? Well, guys, the key features of a awesome professional is the one who earn the respect and trust from our teams, ready to share the information when it is asked, be an active learner, starting from active listener. Okay, always stand with the team, never let the team down, always keep on improving their emotional intelligence skills, okay, so that he or she can cater difficult situations. And it is basically senior leadership who can create a culture, who creates a system that result in awesome teams. And we believe as a DA practitioner, we should be working in an awesome way. I am skipping this particular slide. It is more about a discussion that, okay, what type of roles you have seen on software development teams and other teams. Because like, I believe everybody understand it. DA team or DA roles. In fact, DA recommends 5 primary roles and a number of supporting roles. And in primary roles, 4 roles are team roles and 1 role is stakeholder. When we say stakeholder, this stakeholder could be our customer and could be anyone else, could be our sponsor, portfolio manager, functional managers, product managers, any external stakeholders, government, regulatory authorities, standard setting bodies, anyone. Okay, but again, while working, we must be keeping stakeholders in our mind. This should be our priority. Focus should be around the stakeholders. And then there comes team roles. 3 of the team roles are from Scrum. Okay, because like they make quite a lot of sense. And these 3 roles are, would anyone like to comment? What are those 3 roles on Scrum?
In Scrum, we had team lead or Scrum master. Here we have team.
Yeah.
We had product owner there. We do have product owner here. We did not have architecture owner there. Yeah. Here we have a new role, architecture owner, and then team member is common.
Team member is common, and normally we call them developers in Scrum. Now there is another role called architecture owner. Again, architecture owner need not to be a separate person. He or she could be part of the team. okay, for the development team, but it could be like senior developer, okay, or senior engineer, who will be responsible for the architecture of the solution we are building, the technical aspects of that solution. Okay, what would be its different components, what would be the technology we will be using, or what type of architecture we are going to use, so on and so forth. Nevertheless, architecture highly depends on the domain as well. If it is software, it has like its own type of standard architecture or custom built architecture. If it is like, for example, in the domain of construction, architectures are different. In the field of, for example, IoT, Internet of Things, architectures are much different, and it also depends that what type of platform we are using. And then product owner. Everybody understand product owner is voice of customer or customer proxy, or they are representatives of the customers, mostly from the business domains, but they also have understanding of the IT or technology. Team lead. Team lead, if everyone is here, Sarah and Umar.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks a lot, because like I am making some key comments here about this role, because we are becoming a DS Scrum Master that is equivalent to team lead. Okay, different Agile methodologies use different terminologies for this role. Okay, but DA calls it team lead. You can call it Scrum Master or Senior Scrum Master. You can call it Agile Coach, etc. But what DA believes is this person, he shouldn't be Scrum Master just for the sake of ensuring that, okay, team is doing the Agile practices well. Okay, the purpose shouldn't be only the servant leadership. This is the type of leadership that is highly promoted by many different Agile methods. And what is servant leadership, Junaid?
So it is a sort of putting your team first. Facilitation mode is on in that person's mind, and he always put his team first.
True. True, agreed. And he or she is someone who is basically a roadblock remover, who remove all the impediments, who provide what is required for the team, so on and so forth, just like serving the team. Okay, but what DA promotes is a bit more than servant leadership, and they call it host leadership. And the concept of host leadership is servant leadership plus, when it is needed, join the team to do the work. Just like a host, when you have guests at your home, not only you serve them, but also join them over dinner. Same is the concept of host leadership in team. Not only you serve the team, but also join the team while doing the work. That's the basically key difference. Again, this person could be from the team. Okay, it's not compulsory to have a separate person for it. He or she could be a senior developer or senior engineer, or maybe business analyst or a tester, or maybe a junior developer. But key thing is this person should have better, or you can say superior, people skills. This is more important than his technical knowledge. Okay, nevertheless, technical knowledge is important as well. That's one important thing. But more important is people skills. Okay, when we talk about people skills, yeah.
I wanted to ask, the supporting roles, are these the only supporting roles, or do we have more supporting roles? They are just examples.
They are just example. There could be much more than that. But again, these examples are pretty comprehensive. You can basically, naming convention could be different. For example, when we talk about domain expert, okay, it could be like any domain expert, could be a social media marketer, could be, for example, your legal advisor, could be your banker, or could be your functional managers, line managers, could be anyone, subject matter experts, basically. Here we are talking about people skill. Different examples of people skills are, for example, leadership, for example, emotional intelligence, for example, empathy, for example, negotiation skills, conflict resolution skills, and too many others. That's key as a team lead. And then there are supporting roles. Supporting roles are two types. You can think of. These roles might be working, might not, these roles are not the part of core team. Okay, that's one thing. But these roles could be working in parallel with your teams. For example, specialists. Okay, think about user experience experts or database specialists or security specialists, etc. And then independent tester, someone who is testing the work for you, could be part of your team, but maybe there is a parallel team of testers who are working with you and helping you to conduct testing. And that testing might, these testing skills might not be available within your team. For example, the people who do exploratory testing, these are like people with special skills who can conduct exploratory testing. And then domain experts, these are the people who provide you the advice on the domains. For example, if you're developing a banking app, then bank managers or banking experts or accountants, they might be giving you help. Technical experts, these people are those who provide you technical advice on need basis. For example, you want to do some penetration testing, or you want to connect your database with your solution, then you might require a database administrator or security engineer work for you for 1 or 2 sprints. Okay, and then just move on. You borrow this technical expert only for shorter time. And then integrator, he or she is the one who can help you to integrate your team and also your solutions with the other teams and solutions with the existing solutions. Now, we have covered quite a lot about these roles. In the upcoming slides, they will be talking more, but we will be covering only those concepts which are like, you can say, crisp concepts, the important concepts. Okay, team, here they're talking about the terminologies of DA. In Spotify, they called it squad, or if it is like a larger team, you can call it tribe that consists of multiple squads or multiple sub-teams. That's a terminology from Spotify. How many of you are aware of Spotify way of working?
Just vaguely, not with a lot of detail, like how Scrum can work.
Oh, agreed. So Spotify is an audio streaming company who basically chose their own way of working, their agile way of working, and they improved it over the period of time. And many organizations, because Spotify was a success, many organizations adopted their way of working because there was quite a lot of help and documentation was available. Where normally the larger teams are called tribes, or you can say team of teams, and then they are distributed into squads. Also, they have chapters and guilds. If we will get time, we will be talking about them. And then team lead, in XP, they are called coaches, in Scrum called Scrum Master, in Spotify, they are called Agile coaches. Architecture owner, Scrum doesn't have this role, Spotify doesn't have this role, only XP have this role that is still the same coach, okay? Because like XP advocate a lot of technical practices. For example, refactoring, pair programming, mob programming, and many others. Domain experts, XP call it customer, Scrum call it customer, Spotify call it customer. But again, customer, many people think that, okay, just one person like a sponsor. No, it is much more than just one sponsor. it is important to understand that what are the roles of each of these team members. The role of a product owner is team should be building the right product. The role of an architecture owner is team should be building the product in a right way. And then team member, they build the product. And team lead, who basically demonstrate host leadership and coordinate the building activities of the product. More information about team lead, product owner, architecture owner, team members, and stakeholders. Team lead is someone who is expert of Agile. Okay, that helps the team remain motivated, self-organized, self-managed, semi-autonomous or autonomous to achieve the goals and demonstrate servant leadership. Product owner, he is the responsible for the product requirements, product backlog or work items. Okay, the scope, the product vision is a bridge between business and technology peoples. Architecture owner, Sarah, can you read what work architecture owner do?
Okay. Architecture owner owns the architecture decisions and technical priorities, mitigates key technical risks.
Yeah, so that's all about technical aspects of it. And if you have any question about the technical aspects of a solution, go and meet with the architecture owner. Again, could be part of your team. And Suhail, team member?
People able to work in cross-functional roles to deliver the solution.
So when we say cross-functional, what does it mean?
It means people, they are not from the same department. They have got various separate specializations. There are many concepts about it, like the cross-functional teams, you should train your people in more than one function also. This is also one of the ideas. But basically, cross-functional means that each one is a specialist or a different subject.
True. In other words, your team has all the skills available to complete a task, isn't it? For example, if it involves marketing, there should be people with the marketing expertise. If there is a business analysis work included, people from business analysis, and same like developer, testers, or security engineers. But nevertheless, they should have all the skills required, or as many skills required as possible to complete the solution. And then stakeholders that are like sponsor and many other type of stakeholders. Now supporting roles, Umar.
Do I need to read them out?
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. Independent tester, a test quality professional outside of the team who validates their work. Specialist, someone in a specialist role such as business analyst, program manager, or enterprise architect. Domain expert, SME, someone with deep knowledge of the domain, such as SME, subject matter expert, so such as a legal expert or marketing expert who's brought in as needed to share the expertise. Technical expert, someone with deep technical knowledge, such as a security engineer or user experience professional whose help is needed for a short period. Integrator, someone responsible for the operation of the overall team build.
Yeah, so again, independent tester could be one person, could be a team of testers, and again, specialists could be specialists in their domain, like business analyst, etc. Domain experts are could be like your functional managers, or the domain in which you are working got subject matter expertise in that domain. Technical experts are like who can help you to do some technical help, for example, database administrators or security engineers or UX professionals, etc. And then integrators who help you to integrate your solution. Again, the details are provided on PMI's website about all these roles. You can look in more details from there. Okay.
I have a very serious objection on it. disciplined agile still is trying to focus on software development. I don't see anything which is outside of the software world.
Okay.
That gives us very big objection. They're coming up with a agile way for the whole world, and this is all focused about the software.
It's a little bit different than this. Let me try to explain this. At the moment, we are focusing on DAD, Discipline Agile Delivery, or software development or solution development. Okay, we are not focusing on other process blades. But if you go to PMI's website, if you go and explore a DA toolkit, all the roles and all the roles and people in all other areas are available. For example, for vendor management, or for example, HR, etc. They are available. What they did is they made a very solid architecture of DA toolkit, okay, where each of the process blade is supported with DA mindset, DA people, DA workflows or life cycles, and DA practices. So at the moment, we are just focusing on delivery team.
But that means it is only for software industry.
Solution development team. I mean, that could be software
What do you
solutions.
mean by solution development? I am doing a construction project. I want to use DAD. Then how can I be a UX expert and things like that? These terminologies should not be used.
The first thing is, again, we really cannot say that, okay, Agile could be used in all different industries, like as you are saying, construction industries. But on the other side, what we are saying is that, okay, previously it used to be said that software is eating the world. Okay, software is replacing most of the industries or most of the roles. For example, previously there were like taxis, now it is through Uber. In fact, what happened is software is the world. Talk about any organization who is not a software organization. Previously, IT was like a support service. Now it has become the core business of any organization. Most of the organizations, like for example, talk about banking. Here, maybe in most of the countries, but I have seen in New Zealand, I never went to the bank branch. Everything is online, okay, available for me. So it means that the whole banking sector or fintech industry is like totally shifted towards like software. And construction, I agreed. This is one of the very mature industry that is like still using the waterfall, but many industries, many sectors are already shifted towards software.
Right, we can discuss it later sometime, but I have got my own research on construction agility. But anyways, that is not the subject.
Yeah, true, including lean construction and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, let's move further. There is an activity. Should we skip this activity or quickly do it?
As you wish.
So let's skip this activity just for the purpose of speeding up a bit, so that we can finish the stuff within time. Now again, this is basically what type of work each of the roles should do. So that's the activity that we are skipping. Again, if you look on this slide, we already talked about it in the previous session, that who could be the leaders. For example, team lead, product owner, architecture owner, who could be in the domain roles, domain experts, service representatives, procurement officers, and many more. And what are different management roles? Project managers, portfolio, data managers, product managers, program managers, and too many other. It's now year nay time. Chilsa, would you like to read this year nay?
Yeah, disciplined agile addresses all possible roles that will occur in an organization. Well, disciplined agile is not responsible for that. Nay.
Yeah, for sure. It is name. But they cover quite a lot, but not all of them. Yeah, nay. Sorry, sir.
A person may take on several roles in parallel. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Now let's have a look on team lead role. Because like this is what we are trying to understand. So team lead could be called anything. Okay, we already talked about it. Scrum Master or DA Scrum Master or DA Senior Scrum Master or maybe a project manager, or you can say even a product manager or a agile coach or lean project manager or technical lead. Could be anything. Okay, but important thing is the person should have better people skills. However, when we talk about the team lead in DA, you can call them DA Scrum Master. We already talked about what DA Scrum Master or team lead does. He is the one who basically interact with not only with the team, but also with the stakeholders and with other teams, other sub teams, and also with other supporting roles.
Let's find out.
Yeah, in just a minute. Let me mute. Yeah, I think it's muted. Sorry about that. I think someone is outside. Okay. Nevertheless, the concept here we are talking about is Scrum Master, as he or she need to communicate with the team, with the stakeholders, with other teams. He or she should have better or superior people skills, and we have already seen the examples of people skills. Now let's dig deep a bit into team lead role or DS Scrum Master role. Yusuf, would you like to read this for me? What a team lead does?
Yeah. A DASM will lead and guide the team during their agile journey. And a DASM is qualified to work with one team on straightforward situations, scaling on a team level and utilizing basic team coaching skills. And a DASM practices team-oriented agile and lean techniques. And a DASM applies the disciplined agile toolkit at the beginner level.
So that's scope of the role is very important to understand. I believe most of you know that there are 4 different type of products by PMI Discipline Agile: DA Scrum Master, Senior Scrum Master, DA coach, and DA value stream consultant. Each of these product and associated roles have their scope. If we talk about Scrum Master, he or she is the one who will be working with one team. That's one thing. He or she won't be the one who will be working with many different teams. Okay. Again, he will be able to help the team to choose their way of working when situation is pretty straightforward, not very complex. Okay. Help the team to do the scaling. And again, when we say scaling, we will be covering scaling in the upcoming slides. It is more about, okay, if your time, for example, team size change, then how you will adopt according to this change in the team size, and in fact, many other factors as well. Okay. Again, team focused agile and lean practices and techniques. He or she should have understanding of them. Okay. And again, DA toolkit, not in very depth, but at the beginner level. This person should be able to use DA toolkit. How DA? Yeah.
Sorry, I had a question on the previous slide. So it says that the DS Scrum Master is able to work with only one team. I feel like that's kind of boxing someone in that. that they can only work with one team. But the second question I also have then, what is PMI's offering for someone who can then be called as someone who can work with across multiple teams? What's that certification for?
DA Senior Scrum Master and DA Coach. DA Senior Scrum Master is the one who works with the multiple teams on the program level as well. Okay. Also, he is able to use the DA toolkit on advanced level and can help the team out in the complex situations. That is a DA Senior Scrum Master, and after that DA Coach, who can help the organizations to adopt and implement Agile across the teams and departments. That is next level of Senior Scrum Master. And then we have value stream consultants that help that are like, you can think of like system specialists who can help the organizations to develop and improve their systems and help to organize them around the value streams for the sake of enterprise agility. Now, how does DA Scrum Master serve a team? Sarah, can you please read it for me?
Okay. So I read the events or the whole slide, the whole thing?
The whole thing, yeah.
Okay. Coaches in the self-organization helps focus high-value increments that meets the definition of done, help remove and impediments, and ensure that necessary events take place and care, being positive, productive within time box.
So this person basically coaches the team so that they can become self-organizing. Self-organizing are the people who are able to define the tasks, who are able to size, estimate, schedule the tasks, and can basically organize the work within a sprint, for example. And they also help the team to focus on high value increments. The work that is being produced should be of high value and should be removing all type of roadblocks and impediments and stuff. And another important thing is necessary events. Here we might think of meetings or ceremonies, if you remember, and those, for example, iteration planning or daily scrum or product demo or retrospectives, but they must ensure that the purpose of these events that team chose, again, he or she shouldn't be choosing for the team. He should only be giving options or coaching the team, okay, that what we can do. And important thing to keep in mind while conducting these events are like, these events should be positive, productive, and within the time box. Time box, again, not told by, for example, Scrum, that 15-minute daily Scrum, but chosen by team. For example, we will be doing 30 minutes daily Scrum. Okay, then if they decided about it, DA Scrum Master will ensure or remind the team, okay, we should be doing it for 30 minutes. We must not be wasting a lot of time on our daily coordination meeting. And then the same person, DA Scrum Master, helps the product owner. And Charles, can you please read how he or she can help a product owner from here?
Yes, help find techniques, effective product goal definition and backlog management, supports backlog grooming and planning, keeps informed of project status, helps the team to understand the need of clear, concise backlog items, facilitates stakeholder collaboration.
So he also works as, he or she also works as a bridge between the product owner and the team. For example, he helps the product owner in refining the product backlog or defining the goal of a sprint, so on and so forth. Similarly, if project status is needed with the help of some matrices or measurements like burn down charts or burn up charts or CFDs, or for example, velocity charts, etc., he can provide that to the product owner. Also on the other side, whatever product backlog is prepared by the product owner helps the team to understand that what is the meaning of each item in a product backlog, so that they can understand well the requirements, and then based on those requirements can define the tasks. Overall, stakeholder collaboration. This person, how can it help the organization, Umar?
Supports product owner and team in achieving customer satisfaction, helps team identify and address risks, helps with training and coaching in agile adoption, helps employees and stakeholders understand and work in the environment, and remove barriers between stakeholders and teams. I have a question also.
Yeah.
Helps team identify and address risks. So I think risks in agile management is a topic in its own right, but if you can maybe just broadly touch upon it, like how, because we don't have big registers or a very comprehensive risk plan. So there are some automated built-in technical response, maybe just confirm my understanding.
True, true, agreed. So there is a process goal, name address risk. We will be covering address risk, and when time will come, we will be talking about how can we address the risks, okay, in agile way. But nevertheless, you might heard about risk adjusted backlogs. Did you heard about it?
No, I have not heard about it.
Okay,
I've heard about risk burn down chart or something like that, but not this.
Yeah, so risk adjusted backlogs are mostly in the start. Backlogs consist of the requirements or the features. Okay. After that, what we do is like we do some risk analysis. Okay. Technical risks or technical debts, so on and so forth. We can, when we are refining our backlog, we can not only put our features, but also we can put our risks into these backlogs. And you can think of backlogs or work item list or item pool, whatever you wanna name it. Okay, your choice. It is single point. Single source. Single source mean that all the information is in this artifact. Okay. Now, do you understand that each feature or risk that we put in the product backlog, we can prioritize them? Okay, that is basically prioritized backlog. We can prioritize them based on the value they produce or based on the value they will take. For example, features will produce value and risk may basically can eat that value. Okay. And when I say the value, you can in fact represent that value in actual money, in actual dollars, by using different techniques. For example, buy the feature. That is one technique that can tell you, okay, what will be the price of this feature, so on and so forth. So what can we do when we include the risks into the backlog, okay, and combine it with the features, and we are representing that in monetary values. For example, if feature one is of value, for example, $10,000, okay, and then we have a risk, call it risk one of $9.5 thousand, okay, $9.5 thousand, and then we have another feature that is, for example, of $9,000, okay. Then what would happen? How we will prioritize? Feature one on top, risk one on the second priority, feature two on the third priority, and so on so forth, based on their monetary values, 9.5K, 9K, so on so forth. Okay, again, these are just exemplary values. You remember how can we calculate the monetary value for a risk? Again, the same probability into impact. Yeah, so 20% is the probability of the risk to occur, and if it will occur and cost us, for example, $20,000, okay, and then what would be the value of this risk? 4K. Okay, so that's basically help us to express risks and features into product backlog. But nevertheless, much more comprehensive detail is given in the process goal, address the risk. And then there comes leaders and managers. In Agile, we believe more in leadership. We are working instead of managing, but we also understand that there will be many things that would be common between leader and manager. Everybody understands the differences, but many things that both do. For example, they mobilize people and resources. They also explain the vision. Okay, that's leader and managers both do, but there are many different differences. And in fact, in any training on leadership, you have seen these type of differences, isn't it?
Yeah, very common.
Yeah, very common. So I think we can skip them and can move further towards emotional intelligence. This is one of the key attribute of a DASM, or you can say team leader. But before going in depth of emotional intelligence, what you understand from emotional intelligence, Charles? Charles. Charles, what do you think? What is emotional intelligence? Yes, Junaid. Yes, Junaid.
Okay, thank you. So I believe it is about understanding your emotions, regulating your emotions,
True.
understanding emotions of others, and navigating your impression on others according to how they perceive you and how you can best share your message with them.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That's basically emotional intelligence. The thing is, we know about IQ levels. That is our technical ability to resolve the problems, intelligence quotient. Similarly, we also have emotional quotient. That is like our behaviors. Okay, how we behave based on a trigger. I mean, when someone does one thing, how it impacts on our mind, how we behave it, how we basically react to it, how it determines our behavior, and how strong we are on our emotions. That's our EQ. IQ is something that sparks in in early ages, like for example, when you are 18 to 25 years of age, I mean early adult age, your IQ level is on peak. Okay, but EQ level is something that starts from 18 years of age. For example, I mean it start reaching to its peak on in the early age, but with the passage of time, it keeps on improving. It doesn't stop. Okay, but it really doesn't mean that if you are not learning, if you are not practicing EQ, it will keep on improving with the age. It really doesn't mean that. It means that it really doesn't stop improving when you are learning about it, when you are practicing emotional intelligence. You can call it EQ or EI. Uh, EQ is emotional quotient. In fact, emotional intelligence could be described with the help of four quadrants. The first one is self-control. The second one is self-management. And these are basically, you can understand it about yourself. Okay, it's about you. Self, you can call it self. And next two components are for others. That include understanding others. Okay, understanding others and inspiring others or motivating others. So self and others, and here on this level, it is called recognize, when you are self-controlling, that is recognition of your emotional emotional behavior, and regulate mean how to manage your emotional behavior. Same applies to understanding others' behavior, that is recognition of other behavior, and inspiring others mean regulating others' behavior. That are the 4 quadrants of emotional intelligence. Journey starts from here. Okay. You need to be self-controlled, self-managed. You understand that, okay, what triggers you, and then how to manage your emotional behavior. It results in a lot of motivation. Okay. If you are good at self. After that, when you are good at self, next is understanding others by showing the empathy, by putting yourself in their shoes. And then after understanding others, how to inspire others by using your emotional intelligence skills, motivating others, so on, so forth. Any question about it?
I just want to add, emotional intelligence is a learnable skill.
It
You
is.
can learn over the life.
True.
But IQ is something which is static. IQ does not increase throughout your life.
Yeah, true. So it sparks in the start, then it remains same.
Exactly.
True. I agree. So that is, I think, this concept of emotional intelligence is from neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is like when you learn new things, you unlearn old things, they fade away, and you learn the new things. And your emotional intelligence improves. So we covered quite a lot on emotional intelligence. So next few slides are on emotional intelligence. So that's why I'm skipping them, because I believe that now you have some idea about emotional intelligence. But if you have question, please ask me. Again, this slide is showing firstly work on your own emotions. Once you are aware of your emotions and manage your emotions, next is like understanding other emotions and inspiring others by promoting psychological safety, embracing diversity, fostering joy, and resolving conflicts in your team members. From this point, we are taking our discussion on a different path, little bit, but still it would be around people. But before that, any question about emotional intelligence, guys? Yes, Sarah, any question?
No, thanks.
Okay, now this quote, the system causes most problems. In fact, 95% of the problems. It is not about the people. It's about the systems who cause the problem. A bad system will easily beat a good person anytime. Okay. People are not the root cause of any problem. It's the systems. And that's I'm evident of. I have seen that the countries who grew to next level, and basically these are the systems who help them to move to next level, to become like developed countries. So it means that if you really want to solve a problem within a country, within an organization or team, improve the system. When you want to bring the organizational change in the organization, focus should be the system, not the people, because people already do their best. Okay. But improving the system, it is not like you as a DS Scrum Master who will be doing it. You might do it on your team level, but for organizational level, it is your senior management, your high level management who take the initiatives to invest on the systems, to improve them, to make them great systems that will be resulting in high performing teams working in an autonomous fashion. In fact, here I would like to comment high performing teams. They need three things to become high performing team. One is skills to do the work. Second is autonomy. And the last one is purpose for the work. Okay. And it is system who basically provide the autonomy. It is the system who provide the opportunities to improve the skills. It is the system that help to motivate the team to focus on the purpose. So, but again, as a team lead, as a DS Scrum Master, you cannot change the whole system, but you can put your part into it to improve the system by using this approach. We call it middle up down approach. I mean, you are in the middle, you are the middle management, you are either team lead or even higher in the hierarchies like program managers or product managers. You are the one who basically work with the business stakeholders, senior management who create the vision of the enterprise, vision of the product, or vision of the direction of the organization. And then you have to create that environment, okay, that can manifest this vision. Okay, and basically you are directly working with the teams and teams with the help of you, they will ensure that vision is being followed. So that's basically middle up down management approach. Vision coming from up, and you are the one who is manifesting this vision to your teams. The same thing, there is a quote from famous scientist, engineer Edward Deming, who invented that PDSA cycle or PDCA cycle. It is system that shouldn't be trusted, not the people. People should be respected. Okay, system should be investigated, system should be improved so that the whole organizational culture could be improved. And that's the approach Deming used to change the whole culture of Toyota in Japan. And then there comes working agreements. What do you think, Sohail? What are working agreements?
Okay, working agreement is in a way we call it the team charter.
Oh yeah.
That is how team is going to interact with each other.
True.
This is not a contract as such, but this is a kind of a common understanding amongst the team, the basic rules of interaction.
So,
excuse me.
Yeah, please.
Can we call this as an internal communication plan, for example?
Communication plan will be part of your way of working. True. Yeah, agreed. Or your team working agreement that how you will be communicating. Are you communicating through emails only, or you will have meetings each monthly, etc. When we talk about working agreement, it could be internal. Okay. It can also include an external component as well. External mean how the team will be communicating with other stakeholders or with other teams, so on, so forth. This, who should prepare it?
This is the responsibility of the team lead. Naturally, with the team.
Yeah, so it will be team who should be writing working agreement, because until they will not be writing, obviously team lead will be facilitating. If they will not be writing, then what would happen? They will not have a buy-in in this working agreement because they didn't develop it. Now JRNA time. Charles, are you here?
Yes.
Can you read this JRNA?
There is 1 second. because I got.
That's all right. Take your time.
There is no room for managers in this and agile. Yeah,
True or false?
it's true.
Anyone? Nay.
Huh?
Nay. This is not pure agile. It is very pragmatic. We really don't say that, oh, project managers or managers, they don't exist in disciplined agile. In fact, there could be project managers role. There could be managers role. Okay. It is the team who should be, it is the organization who should be basically choosing what roles should be there in a team. Okay. On the other side, Scrum, normally they don't have managers in Agile, but it's not the case with discipline Agile. Types of teams. Project teams, long-standing teams. Yusuf, do you know the difference between two?
I have some idea.
Yeah, please.
For project teams, it is not a continuous team, I can say.
Oh,
I am,
yeah.
by the way.
Exactly.
But we call, according to PMI, homeless. But
exactly.
as I remember.
True.
But long-standing teams like a head office functional team, functional structured organizations, teams are clearly defined. When work comes, they are assigned to relevant teams or relevant functions. I can call like
interesting.
Without reading here.
True. I mean, you did pretty well. In fact, your definition of project team is correct. They are gathered together for a project, and once project is finished, they disperse, or if another project comes, then they might be gathered together again. But when we say long-standing team, this concept is a bit different than those functional teams who are permanent staff, etc. Because in discipline agile, we don't believe in organizing the people into the departments. We believe in organizing the people into around products, around services, around value streams, around the work. Okay. In fact, the value streams. The key differences are in project team, when a new project comes, we gather the people. But here we already have our team, and new projects or new products or new releases come to this team. So team stays there, work is brought to them. The issue with project teams are like budgeting and tracking issues, but in long-standing teams, budgeting issues are much straightforward. Another issue with project team is they have to go through these stages of like farming, storming, norming, and performing thing. But here, most of the time, these long-standing teams are always high-performing teams. They are always here, okay, and they have the bonding. And they need not to be gelled. But project teams, because they are coming from different departments, or maybe few of them are contractors, or even they might be coming from different organizations. Okay, in case of when there is a joint venture, okay, so they take some time in gelling. And again, their focus is like more on completing the work than ensuring the quality. But long-standing stable teams, they normally their vision is much further than just doing shortcuts. Shared services teams. Sagir, sorry. What's your first name? I totally forgot. How can I forget, by the way?
Yeah, you're talking to me?
Yeah, Junaid.
Yes.
Junaid, shared service team.
Yes. So actually, what happens is mostly they are shared teams across the company.
Yeah.
With respect to marketing, so what I was doing in my previous company is we used to coordinate with them and share our requirement with them, and we borrow their service for some time only, and they
Oh,
have their own lead or their
departments.
reporting manager. Yeah,
True.
so their own department, maybe a department of 2 or 3 people for sales and 2 or 3 for marketing, but and especially for the UI team as well, especially if you're in projects. So you have 3 or 4 UI fellows who are not dedicated to the teams, but
Yeah.
they are borrowed, like maybe for sprint or maybe for initial discovery session.
True. True. Agree. So this is how they interact with your solution development teams, isn't it? Yeah. Now,
Right.
Sarah, how you work? I mean, do you, when there are a product team or solution development team, you go and become the part of it, or you basically, like as Junaid mentioned, that we borrow the team member and they become like there for like for one sprint or two, or maybe a discovery session, etc., or you work more like in such a way that, okay, when solution development team needs something, they bring the they basically send the work to your team and you respond to it. How you work?
I think we're more like a collaborative enterprise team.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we do whiteboarding and outcome mapping sessions, and we attend that as a whole team. So we are part of it.
That's cool. So basically you are also a work team and enterprise team instead of just a specialized team, and you have like just your own thing. If someone need it, come to us. Otherwise, we are doing our own work, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are more like collaborative enterprise team, and that's basically more preferred way.
Mhm.
Yeah, Nate team. Sarah, let's continue. Can you read this question?
Cross-functional whole teams enable agility. Yes, yay.
Exactly. But again, we might not have the whole teams. It's good to have cross-functional teams, but sometimes you might have a core team and you are borrowing someone to be part of your team. Next question, Charles.
Agile teams must be small and collected.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Collocated. Sorry, collocated.
Yep.
Yes. True.
Again,
Primarily
No.
true, but
Small.
nay.
Preferred, but must not. Yeah, so if it is like should be small and co-located, we can say, okay, yeah, should be small and co-located. But if we say must be, I think it's not true. The thing is, like we have seen, like distributed teams or virtual teams, and team sizes could be even more than like 20 people.
Yeah, and I think COVID has also made whole co-located business quite redundant, quite
True.
out of business now.
True.
Yeah.
And then next question, Charles.
Collocated teams should have a designed workroom.
Yeah, a designated
Yeah.
workroom.
True.
Yeah, true. So if the teams are co-located, it's a very good idea that they should be sitting in a common area. Okay, common area mean common workplace. Even you don't have your dedicated desks, you can just come switch on your laptop and carry on working. So that's basically designated workroom. It may have caves or separate rooms, but most of the time you should be working in the common space. Next, Yusuf.
Okay, members of a collaborative enterprise team become members of a work team. Nay.
Nay, and Sarah?
I'm not sure.
What do you think, Sarah?
Yay.
Yeah. So that's basically collaborative enterprise teams. They become like part of work team, like cross-functional.
I remember.
True. And then team context and scaling factors. Let's talk about that. Okay. When basically you are talking about the teams, you are forming the teams and team structures, how scaling factors impact it. This is a spider diagram, very famous in discipline agile community. This spider diagram helps us to do tactical scaling. Tactical scaling is scaling on the team level. Okay, what we are saying that these are some factors, 6 factors. Okay, Joseph, can you read these 6 factors?
Yeah. Team size, geographic distribution, organizational distribution, compliance, technical complexity, and domain complexity.
And when we are choosing our way of working, these factors basically determine that which practices we are going to choose. Okay, team sizes could be anything like from 10 to 250. Okay, I mean, what we are trying to say is that the Scrum says 5 to 9 people, but what we are saying, it could be very small team, like you can think of 5 people or even more. If number of team members are less, situation is very simple. If number of team members are more, your situation will get complex and complex. So if you are near to the center of these scaling factors of spider diagram, your situation will be simple. If you are far away from this center, your situation will be complex. For example, geographical distribution, co-located, life would be easy, communication easy, coordination easy. But if your team is global, few guys are sitting in USA, other are sitting in Thailand, other are sitting in Australia, time zone is totally different, many issues come. In fact, we have seen this, isn't it? Many of the teams who are sitting in a different time zone, they have to work in the odd hours. Okay, instead of 9 to 5, what they are working, for example, 9 p.m. till morning, and their work-life balance is screwed. Similarly, organizational distribution, if you are from the single division, life is easy. But if you have like contractors or you did some outsourcing, then your life will be tough. So on, so forth. I am not going in depth of it because we will be covering them soon. Here, our focus is more towards team size. Okay. If your team size is small, okay, then basically you have this team where you will have, for example, architecture owner. Sorry, let me clean it because you will have architecture owner on your team, you will have team lead, you will have product owner, then you will have team member. You might have some supporting roles, for example, specialist, etc. But the good thing is you as a team of, for example, 8 to 10 people, you are producing a consumable solution. Okay. On the other side, if you are a large team, you are like, for example, 50 people or you are like 125 people, then what happens is normally you divide your tribe, your team into the sub teams or squads. Okay. In that case, there will be multiple sub teams. You can think of 1, 2, 3, maybe, depending on overall team size, you may have like 3 sub teams. Okay. And each sub team is focusing, those sub teams could be organized around the features of a product or maybe based on the components of the product. Okay. In that case, your way of working would be much different as compared to when you are a very small team. You have to focus quite a lot how to coordinate the activities, how to plan the releases, how to, and especially when these sub teams are choosing different life cycles, for example. okay, or they're choosing the same life cycle, like for example, Agile or Scrum. One is doing it 1 week sprint, other is doing 2 week sprint, though it is highly recommended that go for like same length of sprints. But in case if they chose differently based on their needs, then life would be much tougher. And also, we need to think about the coordination between the teams. We might need a team of teams that you can say scrum of scrums, where basically uh, architecture owners from each team will become part of leadership team. So architecture ownership. Product owner will become the product ownership team members, and team leads will be part of product coordination team members, or even you might need a program manager who will be helping the activities between different sub teams. In SAFe, this program manager is normally called RTE. SAFe is a scaled agile framework for enterprise agility. RTE is release train engineer who basically work with many sub teams. So, and that's basically what we are saying, that team size impacts on your choosing way of working. Geographical distribution, we already talked about it. Could be co-located, could be near located. Near located mean that few team members are sitting here, other are sitting inside, so on and so forth. Fully dispersed, when they are like located in different cities, for example, or distributed teams when they are located in different time zones. So this is geographical distribution, and then organizational distribution. Sarah, when we talk about organizational distribution, in which case life would be easy?
I didn't get the question. Can you repeat it?
Yeah. So when we're talking about this scaling factor, organizational distribution, how your team is distributed as per organizational structure, when life will be easy to choose your way of working, when your team will be
a single division.
From the single division. Okay, for example, engineering division. And things will be a bit more complicated when your team has team members from many different departments, single company. And even it would be more complex when you will have some contractors as well. And it will become very complicated when you outsourced some work. For example, you outsource the testing work or business analysis work. And then there comes compliance. This will
I think you're on
mute, sir.
Right. In compliance, naturally, if we have no compliance to meet, we are most comfortable. If there is a process, we are a bit less comfortable, and so on and so forth. Financial, life critical. If we are going to be looking after a lot of compliances, things are going to be difficult.
I'm not going in depth of it, but they are saying that if there is no compliance requirement, life is easy. But if compliance requirement is on the process level, then things will start getting complicated. But if this compliance is around financial, like banking systems, solutions for banking system is very, very complicated and life critical. For example, preparing the vaccine, or you are developing a nuclear reactor. In that case, compliance requirements would be too high. Okay, so things would be much different while choosing your way of working. How they will be different, I am not going in depth. And then technical complexity. Yes, Umar.
Yeah, sure. So if it's a single, this max of IT, I can't imagine Agile and not IT, so I am truly biased here. But it seems very easy for me to explain because of that.
Yeah.
If you have built a new solution, it has no dependencies, or it is not written in some archaic language, so it's easy to support. You have the latest tools available, and the people are aware of it. If it's an integrated solution, it means that it is part of a bigger system, that it's a subsystem of that bigger system. Maybe the finance team has brought a new solution for them, but it is also integrating with HR, or maybe with your other sales team. So that's a problem. And if it's a legacy solution, like it's written 15 years ago, so you don't have the engineers that are available in that language anymore. The security patches are not being supported, for example, in that language, and a lot of vulnerabilities are there. So a legacy system is always hard to maintain, and also because of the knowledge gap and skill gap. And if it's a multi-platform legacy system, whereas like if there's old system, but they're also communicating with each other, it's a nightmare. So basically, yeah, that's why it should be even more complex for those reasons.
So if you are developing a standalone solution, life is easy. If you are developing a solution that needs to be integrated, or it is part of like a larger solution, then it will be a bit more complicated. But if it is going to be integrated with the legacy solutions, already existing solutions, it would be nightmare, and so on and so forth. And then domain complexity. Now it's turn for Junaid.
Right. So if we have a straightforward domain, like something that we have someone with that domain expertise, and it is a simple solution, maybe a small application to automate a small office or small business, then
True.
it is fine. As soon as complexity increases, it becomes chaotic, depending on the domain complexity. Maybe you want to create a real estate solution online, or you want to create a e-commerce solution. So with the e-commerce solution, you want to have mobile application as well, and with that you want to engage multiple vendors. So it is not only single vendor e-commerce solution. With that you want to automate delivery as well, and you want to have multiple payment solutions. So a lot of people come into play, and it increases the domain complexity as well. So there the supporting role will be there as well.
Yeah, agreed. So simple website, very easy. E-commerce solution would be even more complex. Banking solution, very complex. And maybe if you are developing a drone, okay, or if you're developing an artificial intelligence based solution, it might be very, very challenging. But nevertheless, these are the scaling factors that we covered. That basically determine how to choose our way of working. As a DS Scrum Master, basically that's the work we need to do. We need to help, or we need to do the scaling at the team level. Okay, help the team to choose their right way of working by looking on the scaling factors. Here they are just talking about, okay, when we will be forming teams, what basically they are trying to tell you is team as a scaling factor, and how you can basically think through this scaling factor of team while while forming your team. Many different things. These are basically decision points in a goal diagram. I'm not going in depth of them because we will go in depth next week. Now that was end of our session 3. Any questions? So if we don't have the questions, we can go for a quick smoke out, like 5 minutes. Is it all right?
Sure. We have another half an hour for this course. So if you'll be back after 5 minutes, we'll have 30 minutes more, right?
Oh yeah, so we will try to cover as much as we can in next 30 minutes.
Sure.
And
Sure.
yeah, mm,
Okay.
all good. Cheers. Well, guys, that's our last session for today. Here we will be learning how to choose our way of working. The key topics we are discussing in this session is 5. And let's see how many of them we can cover. But we will be talking about business agility, a formal definition of business agility. We will also be talking about complex adaptive systems. Uh, then we will try to understand why do we want to choose our way of working. We will go in depth of life cycles. We covered one life cycle. We will be covering rest of the 5 life cycles. And last thing is how can we choose our way of working? Now, firstly, started with business agility. What do you think? What is business agility, Junaid?
So it is when you mm, uh, how to call it, like mapping the agile processes across your business unit and pivoting the business needs, like pivoting your organization towards like whatever you get from business. You're not only doing agile for your team only, but
Yeah,
across the organization. And if you are doing a product, your product should incorporate the features as per the market demand,
true.
or like as per your competitor,
Mm, Agreed. So
if it is anything. So something on those terms.
true. So it's not more about that your team is agile or your many teams in your organization is agile. It is basically business ability to or organizational ability to rapidly uh, adopt as per market and environmental uh, changes. But again, in a productive and cost effective manner. It is more about value realization, and you can realize the value when you are getting your uh, intake or you are getting the requirements from stakeholders. Okay. And then the work is being allocated to your teams. And again, teams should be product and service teams. We call business agility as an enterprise or organizational agility as well. When we talk about business agility, again, it is about value realization or getting the highest value uh, in a shorter amount of time. It's not only about the productivity, it's about productivity in shorter amount of time as much as possible in a predictable, sustainable manner with quality assured outcomes. And how we do it? We do it in an empirical way. We work on small badges. We don't work like in large badges, like in waterfall, and we keep on adjusting our keep on adjusting our way of working as per the need. And that's what we do in our iterations. Uh, how discipline agile helps? It helps in enterprise agility uh, by helping you to understand the options available for you. Options in terms of, for example, life cycles. Option in terms of, for example, agile strategies, agile tools and techniques, so that you can choose the right tools and techniques, right life cycles as per your context. And then there comes complex adaptive systems. What is a complex adaptive system? This is basically, we are saying that, okay, system is a combination of multiple components. We really cannot understand the whole system by understanding individual components. I mean, if we understand each individual component, it really doesn't mean that we will be understanding the whole system. This is called system thinking. A system is much bigger than its sum of its components, because interactions within the components or within the teams, and interactions between the teams, between the components, between the departments, it create very unique context that result in an organization a complex organization, or you can call it complex adaptive system. So that's the concept they are talking about, that okay, if a context of a team changes, then it is very tough to determine the impact of that change on other team. Now, JRNA time. Sarah, can you read this JRNA?
Business agility is sometimes referred to as enterprise agility. Yay.
Yep. Next, Charles.
It's possible to understand a complex adaptive system by understanding the individual parts. Now, false, no?
Yeah, so it's me. So discipline agile, as I earlier told you, that it's a toolkit for enterprise agility. When you practice discipline agile, it helps you to realize the value in an enterprise fashion. Why do we want to be able to choose our team's way of working? That's the third component that we are going to cover. Reason is context. Normally context of each team is unique, and also this context doesn't remain static. It changes over the period of time. So it means that team should be choosing their way of working, and they should be evolving their way of working as per the context. As it changes, you can evolve. You should be able to evolve your way of working. By doing this, you will be improving continuously, and you will become a learning team, a learning organization, instead of like you did agile for the sake of agile one time, and once your consultant or agile coach moved on, you stopped doing that thing. Now the things basically you should consider while choosing your way of working, the same thing we were talking about, that every team may have different way of working. One prefer to do time boxed agile, other wanna do Kanban way of working. It totally depends on the team as per their context, how they choose their way of working. And similarly, you keep on evolving your way of working as you keep on learning from your environment. Discipline agile life cycles. We already know about 6 life cycles, isn't it? But before that, would anyone like to explain what does a life cycle mean?
It's the flow of work through which like the work progresses. That's your life cycle and how you essentially work on your deliverables or whatever the product or solution that you're delivering.
So,
So it can be done incrementally or it can be done at the end after a lot of planning, like in SDLC. That's your life cycle. You want to do it as you go, like.
so life cycle comprised of like your sequence of activities that you do, or in waterfall what we call it like the phases through which you pass through while developing a product or completing a project. And on a high level, abstract level, it is more about like planning, implementing, quality assuring, and delivering or deploying your product or service. 6 life cycles. Anyone, any question about these life cycles? We already talked about them, isn't it? So this choice of life cycles help us to choose the right life cycle for us. Then the first life cycle.
One question, we don't see waterfall there. That's completely omitted.
Oh yeah, DA doesn't support waterfall life cycle. Yeah, true. Because it's agile, so I mean, if you think by its nature, it cannot support serial or waterfall. The first life cycle, we understood it very well, isn't it? So if we understood this life cycle very well, it will help us to understand the other life cycles as well. For example, if you're talking about sorry, a bit more discussion about this life cycle. What time you should choose this life cycle depend on two facts. One is the work we are doing and the team. Okay, so Umar, can you read what type of work will basically? Yeah.
The work is primarily enhancements or new features can be identified, prioritized, and estimated early in the project.
So when we are basically enhancing our product or adding new features into it, then we might go for agile life cycle. And what type of team normally adopts it?
Who's new to agile practices, but they're familiar with Scrum or stream programming and typically working on a project.
That's important. So it is for those teams who working in projects. Okay, their funding is based on projects, who release the solution at the end of, for example, a release. Okay, that could be set of features, could be set of enhancements. And then there comes our next life cycle, that is lean life cycle. Lean life cycle is different than time boxed or agile life cycle, in a sense that we don't have iteration here, but still we work in an enterprise aware fashion. Okay, where our vision and funding comes from portfolio, our roadmaps come, our product roadmaps or features comes from product management. However, technical roadmap and technical guidance comes from enterprise architecture. Again, we do high level planning and modeling in the start. After that, we put our initial requirements into our we call it to-do list. Okay, we put it there, and then we follow the lean principles. Okay, and these are some of the lean principles given here. Based on that, what we do, we use a pull system, and I believe you understand the pull system. Pull system is basically, if this is a Kanban board, this is to-do list, work in progress. I'm just making very simple one. Obviously, there could be more columns, and finished or done. Normally, all the items are here. You just pick one or two items. Okay, you work on it, and you really don't go back and pull other items until your previous work in progress is done. Okay, there is a lot in Kanban, but we are just trying to understand on a higher level. Another thing we try to do is we try to keep our work in progress in limit. Okay, we really try not to do like 5 to 7 items at a time. Maybe we prefer to do only 1 to 3 items at a time, even not 3, maybe 2 items at a time. And normally we pull it. Okay, and then while we are working, we are basically getting feedbacks from everywhere, from our experiments that we are doing, and we are learning from our experiments, and then we are showing our work to the stakeholders. Not at the end of iteration, there is no iteration. We are showing our work to our stakeholders as per need basis. Okay, it gives us like more flexibility, more agility. And similarly, our coordination meetings, again, team, they choose that how often should be our coordination meetings. Sometimes they say that, okay, instead of doing it daily or 2 times in a week, we will do it on just in time basis. Just in time basis mean then when it is required. Okay, if we need to coordinate, let's sit together, coordinate it for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then just keep on moving. We might do it like twice in a day, or we might don't do it like even once in a week, so on and so forth. And once minimum business increment, uh, minimum business increment is a concept, we will talk about it later, is produced, we might release it into production, again in a seamless manner, by following DevOps mindset. Again, we have like 3 phases: inception, construction, and transition. Same milestones that are risk-based milestones, but important thing is we don't have like sprints. We don't have iterations. We really don't need to do planning after 2 weeks. We do planning, we do modeling just in time manner. Any question about it?
That word fixed delivery date is kind of bugging me, because I think in Kanban you lead on you depend on lead time, right? That tells you how soon something can be delivered and something like that. So what's meant by fixed delivery date?
I mean, fixed delivery dates are basically sometimes we have like these type of deadlines, okay, where we need to release the solution into the production. So you can think of like it is more like a constraint on us. Okay, in fact, when we are creating our to-do list here, basically we put the item on multiple bases. For example, based on business value, based on risk, based on fixed delivery date. Okay, this is imposed to us, so on and so forth. And that's how we prioritize our to-do list. And also dependency between the, for example, requirements, etc. Now, Charles, what type of work when we are doing, we prefer lean life cycle? Can you read?
Yes. Broken down into very small work items of roughly the same size.
Yeah.
And difficult to predict in advance.
So when the situation is like when we really cannot predict that, okay, how much level of effort it will require to complete the tasks, we normally go for lean, because we really need not to worry that in one iteration we need to complete 3 user stories or 7 user stories. In fact, what we do, we really don't do the sizing of the items like this. We don't say that, okay, one user story is of 3 story points and other user stories, one user story is 1 story point and other user stories of 3 story points, mean different level of effort. Here, what we do, we try to decompose our work into very small work items, and preferably of same size, or if it is possible of same size. And then what type of teams adopt lean life cycle or Kanban based life cycle? Charles?
Favors the lean approach of minimizing batch and any planning in advance of doing the work.
So what they are saying that those teams who want some flexibility, who want to adopt lean or Kanban way of working, where we decompose the work into very, very small chunks and keep on working on like those chunks. Remember, not only we basically try to reduce the size of our work items, but also the number of items on which we are working at a time. Okay, and then the teams who are funded based on project instead of products. Now let's move to our next life cycle, that is continuous delivery agile. Sohail, what's the difference between continuous delivery agile and standard agile?
This is, I think, is my mic on?
Oh yeah.
Okay. This is for long-standing teams. This is not to be performed like a very small project team. This is kind of operational setup in which we are repeatedly doing things, the iterations, to develop product as required basis.
Okay.
So that we would say is a continuous delivery.
Okay.
So if we are using it in an agile way, it is agile, otherwise it is lean.
Yeah, agreed. So if you talk about continuous delivery agile, it is the next step in agile. What happens is, like, for example, firstly, when we start, either our funding is project based or even product based. When we start, normally we go through the phases of initiation. You remember I told you 11 days, and also the phase of deployment or transition. Okay, that also take in the start maybe 5 to 6 days. Okay, now the thing is, once our new team keep on working together, soon they become long-standing stable teams. Maybe for first release, they are a new team, but maybe for release 2, release 3, release 4, now they have become long-standing stable teams. They really need not to do any activities related to initiation. They need not to form the team. They really need not to think about funding. They really need not to think about the release plans or testing strategies or aligning the vision, etc. So it means that practically this phase eliminated. What they become? They become feature producing machine. Mean they keep on producing the features and they keep on putting that those features into the production. These teams, they improve their practices. They uh, they mean improve their practices in a sense that, for example, they start doing CI/CD, that is continuous integration, continuous deployment. They start doing regression testing in an automated way. Okay, mean uh, they really don't need a lot of time to put the features into the production mean, and really don't need any transition. It has become like their daily activities, or they do the transition or they basically deploy the solution into production, maybe using techniques of like you can say release trains, release streams, or releasing based on the schedule, etc., etc. But nevertheless, they really don't need to spend a lot of time on the deployment. It become more like a continuous process, just like a pipeline of DevOps. Now, Yusuf, what type of work these teams do?
Relatively stable in an iteration, a series of releases over time.
So they keep on releasing the solution into the production, and now they become mature in their practices. So it means that the organization, they reach to next level, they develop streamlined deployment practices, and obviously sometimes it requires some investment from the organization as well. And what type of team is in continuous delivery agile? Yusuf?
Long-lived and stable, can deliver on a frequent and incremental basis, can show value rapidly, especially before completion of the entire solution.
Yeah.
Form mature DevOps practices, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and automated regression testing.
So that's what I was talking about, that they become mature in their practices. They start using DevOps mindset. They start using automation in their deployment. including continuous integration of the features into already existing solution, and continuous deployment, mean in the form of release stream that could be on daily basis, or maybe release train that could be maybe on weekly basis, etc. And they also do automated regression testing. What is automated regression testing, Umar?
So basically, regression is any effect in the software or the solution that comes as a result of new changes. So regression is running the whole test suite on the test suite is like your test case or test basically on the solution, and you automate that. Like there is no human intervention on that. The tests run on their own. They come back with results, and you can know what's failed or what's passed.
True. So mean the new features that are produced, they don't have errors, and they are also not producing any errors in already existing systems. And that's regression testing. And in an automated way, it is done without like even doing anything, because it is there in the system. We might need platform for that purpose. And then there comes continuous delivery lean. This is a natural progression either from continuous delivery agile or just lean method. Okay, here again we don't have inception phase, we don't need it because our team become long-standing stable team, and we don't have transition phase. And this is like one of the best phase, one of the best life cycle every team should strive for. Here we work in a very flexible way, and what we do is like we keep on producing the releases and keep on putting them into the transition. For example, like think about Amazon teams, and they are continuous delivery teams, and they keep on putting the new features into the production even in seconds, okay, without realizing the customers that, oh, there is any change in the system. So this was a continuous delivery lean cycle. And Sarah, how we do work in continuous delivery lean? Sarah, are you here? Junaid.
Yes. So the work is a series of release over time, like multiple releases. You're working continuously. So your team was already working.
Junaid, I can't hear you properly.
Agile or a simple lean, but our organization is it works.
I think, Junaid, we can't hear you properly. So that's all right. Umar.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm back.
Okay, that's awesome, Sarah. So, Sarah, we were talking about continuous delivery lean life cycle, where we basically release our features or release our minimum business increments in a series. Okay, and but again, this series is normally, it really don't follow a cadence. Cadence mean that, okay, maybe we are releasing after 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. It is more like when features are ready, you can basically put it into the production when they are ready. Okay, and the organization normally those teams are continuous delivery lean teams where the organization is already mature in some automated practices, and automate, including continuous integration and continuous deployment. Again, these teams are long-standing, long-lived and stable teams, and keep on delivering the new features, the new deliverables on frequent and incremental basis. Mean they are generating the value rapidly. Again, they follow mature DevOps practices, including CI/CD and ART, etc. Then there comes our next life cycle, that is exploratory life cycle. Its other name is lean startup. Normally, this is used to test an idea. This idea can come from anywhere, can come from entrepreneurs by themselves, can come from the business. The purpose is to see that, okay, if this idea will be acceptable in the market or not. It means that what we do is we produce MVPs, minimum viable products. Minimum viable products are those products that are for business purposes, that are not for customer purposes. Mean business doesn't earn money from the customers. Customers don't use it like standard. In fact, business generate MVPs for the purpose of checking that, okay, this product will be acceptable in the market or not. For example, Amazon is exploring KSA market, etc. Okay. What we do, we run short experiments based on our idea, and we see that, and we try to observe and measure that, okay, if idea is successful or not. If it's not successful, we basically drop that idea. If it is successful, then we go for next life cycle. That could be agile life cycle, lean life cycle, etc., so that we can go for the product development. This is just a minimum viable product, or maybe you can think of a prototype. Important thing is here we build little and learn from our experiments. Any question about it?
There's a book Eric writes. I think that's the same one. Lean Startup. Is that the same?
Yeah, lean startup and exploratory are same. Yeah. Let's try to understand what type of solution we produce. Suhail.
The solution is high uncertainty, meaning it is not certifiable. We don't know anything about it. Unexplored market. We are dealing with new product. And as far as the team is concerned, we have flexible stakeholders and team. They keep, adapting to whatever changes are coming in the market or demand. Have one or more valid hypotheses or strategies. Naturally, we have to start with a hypothesis if it is a research kind of a thing. Willing to experiment and evolve your idea based on your learning.
True. So yeah, true. Please carry on.
So this is again adaptive, that we are ready to experiment and then change even whatever we thought earlier.
True. And the important thing is either we have a new product or we have the existing product, but maybe a new market. So that's the purpose of it. And what we do, like we take the idea, we build hypothesis on which we normally have a belief in the start. I mean, that's our assumption, hypothesis will work, but we experiment it, we learn from it. Okay. And then either we drop the idea and pivot back, and so that we can test another idea. But if it is successful, we try to make it a product. And then there comes our last life cycle, that is program life cycle. Program life cycle is where there are multiple sub teams, more than one team who is working on a larger consumable solution, larger solution, basically. Where is it is? Yeah, a larger solution. Now, these teams work in a coordinated fashion, but again, enterprise awareness is key. Okay. Normally, three things are coordinated among the teams: the work, the architecture, and the coordination among the people. Work items are given to team, and then team work at it, and also they can give ideas about the work, that is like product backlog refinement, and also help us to determine the dependencies between the work items or requirements. Similarly, architecture strategy and team provide the feedback to the architectural strategy. And then on a people level, we basically coach our people, we provide them a good environment, and our teams work, and there are any issues, etc., then we take care of it. But in any case, these teams, either component teams or feature teams, they do parallel development, and then they keep on producing the features or the components, they keep on building them, and then integration testing is being done, because like solution is coming from multiple teams. And at the end, if there are issues, work is sent back to the teams. At the end, what we get integrated consumable solution, and this solution is released into the operations. Now you can see that we have some phases: inception phase and construction phase. So in this life cycle, our team is normally a large team of teams, or you can think of a tribe of squads, and they have a good understanding of implementing the agile at scale, because many challenges come, especially around release management and dependencies between the work and so on and so forth. Common project phases, we already know about them, isn't it? Inception, construction, and transition. Inception is where we envision our product and do high-level plans. Construction is we develop our solution in an iterative and incremental way. Transition is releasing the solution. More details about these milestones, which are lightweight, which are risk-based, they are not thorough or detailed documentation. More detail is provided here, and basically we have already discussed that what each milestone is. And that's basically the last activity. After that, we will be finishing. Though session has a bit more into it, but I can understand that we are already 8 minutes past our scheduled time. So let's do this activity and finish it. Umar.
The agile lifecycle requires a mature set of practices around continuous integration and continuous deployment. The agile lifecycle requires, yes, definitely, yeah.
I would say no. This is more about continuous delivery agile, not agile.
Exactly.
So in the start, we might not have mature set of practices of CI/CD. We are just a project team, not a long-standing stable team. And then next point, Charles.
The lean life cycle is a Kanban-based project life cycle. Correct?
Yep, correct. It is. And then there comes our last section of this session, that is how do we choose our way of working. We will be covering it next week when we will be starting fresh. There is not quite a lot of slides, but we are like already past our time, and I can understand everybody got many other commitments. Any questions so far?
I have one. So we saw program style of life cycle, but it seems to me like continuous agile can be mapped with that. Like it can be continuous with program management. It doesn't have to be done in a time box way. You know, like a long-standing team can also be program management. So it's basically both life cycles are intertwined.
So only difference is normally when it is a large solution, then we have like this program life cycle where there could be continuous delivery as well. Yeah, I agree.
Actually, practically speaking, what we'll be doing is that every team within the program would have a separate team lead.
They
And
will
that
have.
would be handling. Yeah.
True. And also it is preferred that they should be using same life cycle, for example, Agile or Lean, but again, it will be their choice.
Correct.
And then there are many aspects of release plan. There are many things that we have to consider. We will be looking at it once we will reach there. Any other question?
I think today was a very, very good session, and probably.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Yes, it was very good. Thank you, Professor, for your
Most welcome. Thanks a lot, guys.
Doctor, excuse me.
Yes.
How can we reach the recording of the sessions?
I will be providing you yesterday's recording. I can send it now. If you are added with me over WhatsApp, I can send it straight away. Otherwise, yeah, I will send it soon.
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Fire.
Yeah, once recorded, will be session will be recorded or recording will be completed. I will be sharing with you. All good, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers.